Very much, Niranjan, for joining us on the phone line to give us those details. As we head into a break, we'll get you details on Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's visit to India.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence. The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo.
And now we're getting you all the latest updates and latest pictures from Moscow as Xi Jinping has touched down in Moscow for the very important visit. He's set to meet Vladimir Putin in a few hours from now. It's the most watched out meeting across the globe as the two leaders, Xi Jinping and President Vladimir Putin, are set to sit down and hold talks which are aimed at multiple issues, bilateral issues. This is in fact Xi Jinping's first visit to Russia after the Russian invasion in Ukraine, and these are the latest pictures of Xi Jinping getting down, landing in Moscow for that very important visit. In fact, just ahead of him reaching Moscow, a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson once again called for the peaceful resolution of the Ukrainian crisis ahead of the summit, ahead of the talks. In fact, these comments were made earlier at the briefing, at the Foreign Ministry briefing of China, and he said that governments that recognize and also in fact spoke about the International Criminal Court charging Putin as being personally responsible for the abductions of thousands of children from Ukraine. So, you know, this visit comes at a very important stage of the war, as well as the war has continued for over a year. The latest pictures coming in of Xi Jinping landing in Moscow, first visit to Russia after the war started, and also Xi Jinping's first foreign visit after he was elected for the third time as the president in China. A very important visit. In fact, a few days back, we also had reports of how how the Chinese foreign minister made calls to his Ukrainian counterpart calling for peaceful resolution of the war. We have Madhav Nalapad joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Nalapad, if you can tell our viewers about the significance of this meeting and what could be expected from the China-Russia talks that are set to happen.
Well, look, the fact is that Russia and China are today very close allies, and they are allies in every field, economic as well as in military. So this basically going and meeting him after he has been, the West has sought to make him an international pariah by this International Criminal Court, is essentially calling for his arrest. And still Xi Jinping is going there and meeting him. And that is an indication the Chinese are absolutely not on the same page with the West at all on Russia. And I think it's a kind of public show of support for Russia that essentially is very disconcerting to the Western world.
And Mr. Nalapad, if you can also tell our viewers about how, what would be its significance for India as well. How is India viewing this visit by Chinese President to Moscow?
Look, the fact is that India has got a very realistic foreign policy, and India has got its own good relations with Russia. And frankly, the Russians are happy about that because it gives them a little bit of leverage with the Chinese. The fact is that the Western policy towards Russia has given them has really almost tried to choke Russia and made Russia completely dependent on China. The biggest beneficiary of Western policy towards Russia has been China, and India has been very different. We have maintained ties to Russia, and this has basically been helping Putin to have a little bit of independence. I don't think India is threatened by this kind of a visit at all, frankly. But I think it's part of Xi Jinping trying to show that it's no longer the United States that's trying to run the world, it's China. And slowly, more and more of that is coming out in public.
Thank you very much, Mr. Madhav Nalapad, for joining us on this broadcast and sharing your thoughts, your views on this visit that is coming in of this very important visit of Chinese President to Moscow. In a few hours from now, we will also witness those talks between the two leaders as after the war has completed 1 year. A very significant visit there between the two leaders, very closely watched by global leaders as well. And we're getting these latest pictures from outside the British Embassy, British High Commission in New Delhi, where protests are taking place after the Indian flag was desecrated in London at the Indian High Commission in London. These are protests taking place by the Sikh community outside the High Commission, the UK High Commission in New Delhi. We will have a reporter joining us live as we beam these live pictures from New Delhi, just telling our viewers about what the UK government said after the Indian flag was desecrated at the Indian High Commission in London. The UK government said that the UK government takes the security of the Indian High Commission seriously. Top British officials have said that they condemn the disgraceful and completely unacceptable vandalism at the mission by a group of protesters who were waving separatist Khalistani flags. The tricolour flying atop the Indian High Commission was grabbed at by the protesters who were also chanting pro-Khalistani slogans. This happened on Sunday. We're getting some responses from the protest. Let's listen in.
The secretary of the PSMC.
My camera.
इस वजह से हम श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का धन्यवाद हमें करना चाहिए, जिन्होंने हमारे गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी महाराज के स्वरूप सुरक्षित अपने इस झंडे यहाँ भेजे। आजादी में सबसे बड़ा योगदान हमारा था। सिख कौम मार्शल कौम है और भारत की आजादी में सबसे ज्यादा हमारा योगदान था, और आज भी हम भारत के वासी हैं। भारत माता की। We love India. We love India. We love India.
We have Madhurima joining us on the phone line. She's reporting on the protest live from outside the UK High Commission there in New Delhi. Madhurima, give us details about the protests that are taking place there.
Well, here as you can see that a group of protesters has arrived here right at the gate of the British High Commission, and you can see that how they all have Indian flags in their hand and are chanting the slogan Bharat Mata Ki Jai, and that we love India. This is coming after the incident when we know that at the UK High Commission in the United Kingdom, the Indian flag was brought down by some pro-Khalistani supporters, and against that today this massive protest is being staged at the gate of the British High Commission. We'll speak to the people over here. Sir, today you are protesting here. What sentiments do you want to express?
हमारे जो जितना भी हमारा जो अंदर का जो हमारा भाव है वो हमारा देश के लिए जुड़ा हुआ है, तिरंगा के लिए जुड़ा हुआ है, और हमारे अंदर रोष है बहुत ज़्यादा कि जो वहाँ पे इंग्लैंड में हुआ वो चाहे हमारे सिख भाई थे उन्होंने वहाँ जाकर किया वो गलत किया, और इंग्लैंड को इस चीज़ पे सोचना चाहिए, उन पे कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए, और जो बाहर के लोग ये शरारतें करा रहे हैं उनके ऊपर कड़ा सा कड़ा एक्शन लेना चाहिए। और आज हम यही इन्हें रिक्वेस्ट करने आए हैं यहाँ पे इंग्लैंड एम्बेसी में।
और आपका क्या प्लान है? क्या आप अंदर जाने का सोच रहे हैं, कोई संदेश भेजने का सोच रहे हैं?
ये गेट खोले, हम अंदर जाके, हमने किसी लड़ाई लड़ने नहीं आए हैं, हम अपना बताने आए हैं कि जो तिरंगे का जो उन्होंने अपमान किया है, जो सम्मान नहीं कर सकते, उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। और अभी हम लिखित में भी देकर जाएंगे यहाँ पर, और उन्हें यहाँ पे एक लेटर देके जाएंगे कि हमें उसके ऊपर कार्रवाई चाहिए।
So you can see that this is the sentiment that is being echoed over here along with the slogans of Bharat Mata Ki Jai. All the protesters are quite miffed with the incidents that unraveled in England where the Indian flag was brought down, and we'll take you back to the visuals over here. My vision Aradeshwar panning, as you can say, slogans being raised in loud voices at the gate of the British High Commission. They have marched all over through the line of the High Commission, and we'll move forward and show you how the number of protesters is increasing slowly over here. Heavy police deployment also has been put to maintain law and order situation, but the protesters have come with a very clear mind that they are not here to create any law and order situation. They just want to send a message across that they love India, and matter of the fact that the kind of incident that unraveled in England need to be taken care of, and the indifference that was shown on the part of the country where this incident took place should be taken care of. We'll take you back to the visuals over here. As you can see that they continue to stand here. It's a VVIP area here. All the embassies one after another are here, so it's a sensitive area, but we continue to see that the protests over here continue to take place. आप यहाँ पर आए हैं, protest कर रहे हैं, क्या कहना है?
उनको जेल में डालना चाहिए।
एक मिनट, क्योंकि जो हुआ है उसकी हम निंदा करते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, कि हम हिंदुस्तान से प्यार करते हैं।
देखिए मैडम, हमारी मांग बिल्कुल साफ है। जिस तरीके से लंदन के अंदर कुछ सिखों ने हमारे इंडिया की डिसरिस्पेक्ट की है, उनको अरेस्ट किया जाए। और मैं आपके माध्यम से पूरे देश के सरदारों का एक मैसेज देना चाहता हूं, हम सारे लोग इंडिया के साथ हैं, इंडिया में रहना चाहते हैं, और ये गर्दन कटवा देंगे लेकिन हम इंडिया से अलग नहीं हो सकते। ये हमारा मैसेज है पूरे देश के, पूरे वर्ल्ड के सिखों के लिए।
You can see a very strong message being sent here by Sikh protesters that they are for the country, and they're sending this message to all the Sikhs across the country that they want to stay here, and all these pro-Khalistani separatists who are trying to weed in such separatist sentiments is not going to work, and this is what the Sikh of the country represents. Right behind me, as you can see, this massive voice of the Sikh community with, you can see all along Indian tricolor, the tricolor flag being unfurled by all these protesters over here with just one slogan that we love India. You can see that Bharat Mata Ki Jai, we love India. That is the only sentiment that is echoing all across the borders of the British High Commission office over here at Shantipat in the national capital. And you can see that though despite heavy deployment of the security officials, these protesters who were quite miffed over the fact because of the events that unfurled in England and the indifference that was shown, that has angered them, and which is why they are here to register their anger, and they want to send across a message that the Sikh all across the India are united and they are not going to fall for such gimmicks. And if at all, if such incidents take place in any other country, these people should be brought to book and should be taken under custody. We'll take you back to the visuals over here. As you can see that the Indian flag still flying high in all hands over here. We are bringing you these exclusive visuals right in front of the British High Commission. You can see that at the gate of the British High Commission, police officials asking them to vacate the area because, as I said, it's a sensitive area and protests are not allowed. But the Sikhs are adamant over here. They're very adamant and they are not budging. They are not budging at all. In fact, some of them have also sit down. We'll move forward and show you the visuals over here that they have strengthened the protest over here, and now they are sitting down. They are saying that they are not going to move from the spot till the time their prayers are not answered. As you can see that these visuals coming from the British High Commission here at Shantipat in the national capital. They're all sitting here, and I'll try and go and speak to these protesters over here and as to what are they trying to. सर आज आप यहाँ पे बैठे हो कब तक बैठोगे?
मैम जी, हम तो ये चाहते हैं जल्दी से जल्दी उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई के देश दिए जाए, हम जाएं। हम तो इसीलिए आए हैं कि जो कल यूके में हुआ हिंदुस्तान के झंडे तिरंगे का अपमान किया गया और जिन्होंने अपमान करा उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई करी है।
हम तिरंगे का अपमान कभी बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकते। सिख
हमारे
खून से देशभक्त हैं।
हम वो लोग हैं, जब हमारे घर में बच्चा पैदा होता है ना, तो हम ये सोचते हैं कब वो देश के लिए जान दे और तिरंगे में लिपट कर घर आए। और हम प्रधानमंत्री जी का ये भी धन्यवाद करना चाहते हैं। अफगानिस्तान में जब श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहब जी के स्वरूप फंसे थे, तो ये वही प्रधानमंत्री हैं और ये वही तिरंगा है जिसके बलबूते पर ही हमारे जो स्वरूप थे गुरु ग्रंथ साहब जी के, वो हमारे देश भारत सुरक्षित पहुंचे थे। तो इस वजह से हम प्रधानमंत्री का और देश का धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं। और जो शरारती तत्व खालिस्तान का साथ दे रहे हैं और इंग्लैंड के अंदर जिन्होंने तिरंगे के साथ दुर्व्यवहार किया, हम उनके बिल्कुल खिलाफ हैं, उनका पुरजोर विरोध करते हैं।
ऐसे लोगों ने जिन्होंने ये ऐसी खालिस्तानी की, उनको आप क्या मैसेज देंगे जिन्होंने भारत का झंडा नीचे लाया?
हम उनको ये मैसेज देना चाहते हैं कि कम से कम अगर आप सच्चे सिख हो तो कम से कम अपने अंदर झांती मार के देखिए कि क्यों जो देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने जिस तिरंगे के बलबूते पे आपके गुरु ग्रंथ साहब जिनको आप सर्वोच्च मानते हैं वो सुरक्षित भारत तक पहुंचाए। क्या आप लोगों को अच्छा लग रहा है कि आज उस देश का तिरंगे का अपमान करते हुए?
You can see that these are some very strong sentiments being echoed here at the British High Commission. All they are saying, they're thanking the Prime Minister for taking swift action during the Afghanistan crisis, and how the Prime Minister helped the Sikh community there and how they brought back the Guru Granth Sahib. We also remember the time when it was Hardeep Singh Puri, the Union Minister, who had carried he carried on his head the Guru Granth Sahib when it was brought. He was barefoot and, following all the procedures. That entire scene is being reciprocated and is being reminisced here by the protesters. And now they keep on saying only one thing, that the incidents that happened there in front of the Indian High Commission there at England is something that should not happen. and should be taken care of. The message going across to all Sikh community in the entire country that the Sikh are united, and all those who are trying to who are trying this separatist tactic to work is not going to work, because we just heard the gentleman that the Sikh of the country live and dies for India, and that is what going to happen. You can see the huge massive crowds over here. They all with Indian flag high in their hand and continues to say Bharat Mata ki jai and we love India. Taking you back to the visuals over here, that though the police officials are asking them to vacate the premises as it's a sensitive area, they all want to send across a peaceful message that the Sikhs stand united with India today, tomorrow and forever. That is the message being sent across by these protesters over here as to this, that the kind of message that they want to send to those who are trying to create unrest by doing such things like unfurling the flag and bringing it down at the High Commission. Here we have some elderly Sikh over here as well. आज आप आए हो, आज आप क्या मैसेज देना चाहते हो उन लोगों को जिन्होंने इंग्लैंड में हरकत की?
हम उनको यही मैसेज देना चाहते हैं, वो जो कर रहे हैं वो गलत कर रहे हैं। उसकी बदौलत हम जो छोटे छोटे पिंडों में बैठे हुए हैं, शहरों में हैं, उनके ऊपर रिएक्ट होता है। दूसरी पार्टियां हम पे रिएक्ट करती हैं, हम पे भेदभाव का विचार रखते हैं। हम उनको कहते हैं जिनको लेना है कुछ तो खालिस्तान तो आ जाएगा, उसकी हम डिमांड वो कर रहे हैं तो उनका हक करें, पर वो ये चाहें कि जो हमारे बच्चे हैं सिख परिवारों के, वो कुछ पढ़ें लिखें, उनके लिए डिमांड करें कि वो IAS अफसर बने, ऊपर तक जाएं। जब तक जाएंगे नहीं तब तक कुछ हम ले नहीं सकते। जो उन्होंने किया वो गलत किया।
बिल्कुल। और आप यहाँ पे क्या कहना चाहेंगे ऐसे लोगों को?
हम प्रोटेस्ट करने हैं UK की एम्बेसी के आगे कि वहाँ जो घटना घटी है वो नहीं घटनी चाहिए थी। वहाँ पर इंडियन एम्बेसी को प्रॉपर प्रोटेक्शन होनी चाहिए थी, और झंडे का अपमान, हमारे तिरंगे का अपमान हम नहीं सहेंगे। बीइंग इंडियन सिख, वी आर प्राउड टू बी इंडियन सिख्स एंड we are here to protest for our Indian flag. Disrespect नहीं होनी चाहिए इंडियन फ्लैग की।
So you can see that all they want is the Indian flag to be respected, and they are condemning the events that happened there in England and the kind of indifference that was registered. Remember, very swift action was taken by the Indian authorities as well. The Indian envoy was also summoned, and a detailed reply has also been sought. So taking you back to the visuals, though they have been asked to move from the gates of the Indian High Commission, they are slowly moving away. But this was a massive showdown against those Khalistani voices who wanted to send a message. But this is a rebuttal message coming from the national capital saying that we love India, and all those separatist elements that are trying to work their way with their separatist agenda is not going to work. And this is a message being sent across by the Sikh community over here. The protesters are now being dispersed, but it was a massive showdown. They all came to the brim of the High Commission, and they continued to chant slogans of Bharat Mata ki jai and we love India, sending a very straight message across that this Indian Sikh community is united, and no gimmick, no hysterical showdown they may plan whatsoever is going to affect the feeling of integrity that they have for the country. एंड अब आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे जो ये प्रोटेस्ट चल रहा है ये भारतीय सिख कम्युनिटी की तरफ से है, और ये उस इंसिडेंट के खिलाफ हो रहा है जहाँ पर हमने देखा था कि किस तरीके से जो भारत का झंडा था इंग्लैंड में कुछ खालिस्तानी सपोर्टर्स थे जिन्होंने नीचे लाया। लेकिन आज हम यहाँ देख सकते हैं कि आज यहाँ पे जो सिख कम्युनिटी है ब्रिटिश हाई कमीशन के सामने आई है, और सिर्फ एक नारा जा रहा है भारत माता की जय और वी लव इंडिया, क्योंकि ये बताना चाहते हैं कि अगर वो सच्चे सिख हैं, जो यहाँ से मैसेज जा रहा है, तो वो भारत का अपमान नहीं कर सकते। ये उन पलों की याद दिला रहे हैं जब अफगानिस्तान में तालिबान ने पूरा आक्रमण किया, पूरा कब्जा किया। उस समय किस तरीके से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने आगे आके सिखों की मदद की, किस तरीके से से गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब को वापस लाया गया और ये पुष्टि की गई कि वहाँ जितने भी सिख हैं उन सबको वापस हिंदुस्तान लाया जाए। तो ऐसा कुछ करने के बाद अगर इस तरीके का कृत्य होता है तो वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा निंदनीय है। और अब देख सकते हैं कि प्रोटेस्टर्स को यहाँ पे हटाया जा रहा है, लेकिन आप देख सकते हैं कि कितनी भारी मात्रा में यहाँ पे प्रोटेस्टर्स आ रखे हैं और सिर्फ आप देख सकते हैं किस तरीके से भारत का झंडा लहरा रहा है। ये एक तरीके से जहाँ भारत का झंडा नीचे किया गया उसका काउंटर है कि आप देख सकते हैं चारों ओर भारत का झंडा है और सिर्फ एक मैसेज जा रहा है, भारत माता की जय। और ये वो चाहते हैं कि इंग्लैंड के अथॉरिटीज़ ये जो कृत्य हुआ है उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए उनके खिलाफ कानूनी कार्यवाही की जाए कि ऐसी घटनाएं दोबारा घटित ना हो। हम देख सकते हैं कि इस वक्त प्रोटेस्ट अभी ख़त्म हो गया है, लेकिन यहाँ पे जितने ज़ोर शोर से यहाँ पे जो स्लोगन्स हुए, जो यहाँ पे नारे लगाए गए, वो सिर्फ एक ये कहते हैं कि जो भारत का सिख है वो एक आवाज़ में आज यहाँ पे खड़ा है और वो भारत के झंडे का अपमान नहीं सहेगा। यही दिखाते हुए मैं आपको इन प्रोटेस्टर्स की छवि दिखा रही हूँ कि किस तरीके से बहुत शांतिपूर्ण प्रोटेस्ट था। ये आए, इन्होंने एक मैसेज दिया कि ये दे लव इंडिया, ये एक स्लोगन था और भारत माता की जय के साथ इन्होंने अपना रोष जो यहाँ पे जताया कि जिस तरीके से भारत के झंडे का अपमान हुआ वो नहीं होना चाहिए था। और आप देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से पुलिस इनको यहाँ से ले जा रही है और ये धीरे धीरे करके यहाँ से डिस्बर्स किए जा रहे हैं। पूरी तरीके से यहाँ पे आज काफ़ी सिख आए, करीबन 80 से 100 सिख थे और भारत का झंडा हाथ में लेते ही यहाँ पे नारे लगाए गए हैं। और आप देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से पुलिस डिप्लॉयमेंट भी है। अगर हम इस इंसिडेंट की बात करें तो जो इंग्लैंड में हुआ उसके खिलाफ ये नारेबाजी है, क्योंकि ये एक साफ संदेश देना चाहते हैं कि जो हिंदुस्तानी सिख कम्युनिटी है वो एक साथ है और जो ये खालिस्तानी प्रोपेगेंडा फैलाना चाहते हैं उनके लिए एक मैसेज है कि अगर वो सच्चे सिख हैं तो वो ये नहीं कर सकते। क्योंकि जब अफगानिस्तान में सिख कम्युनिटी फंसी हुई थी, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने ये चीज़ को पुख्ता कराया कि किस तरीके से गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब को वापस लाया जाए। आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ प्रोटेस्ट बल्कि ख़त्म हो गया है, लेकिन और सब धीरे धीरे जा रहे हैं, लेकिन इट वाज अ मैसिव शोडाउन। काफ़ी सारे सिख यहाँ पे आए और सिर्फ एक आवाज़ में बोले भारत माता की जय और कि झंडे का अपमान हम नहीं सहेंगे। बैक टू स्टूडियोज।
So these are the latest pictures that we're getting from outside the British High Commission in Delhi, where protests took place over the insult to the tricolour in UK. What we know so far is that action has been taken by the UK authorities. In fact, one person related to the event was arrested by the UK authorities, and it was in connection with the insult to the tricolour. The video shows how the tricolour was brought down and a Khalistani flag was put atop the Indian the Indian High Commission in London. Now, there were a couple of injuries had also taken place. The officials guarding the Indian High Commission were also injured in this protest that took place outside the Indian High Commission in UK. India lodged a very strong protest with UK over this incident. Now we saw these images of the Sikh community staging protests outside the Indian High Commission, outside the UK High Commission in Delhi. Getting you a quick check of other news from across the nation. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri slammed Congress MP Rahul Gandhi over his recent remarks on Indian democracy during his London visit. Hardeep Puri said, and I quote, "If any individual goes outside the country, he has the freedom to speak, but along with that freedom comes what I call the need to have a sense of responsibility." The woman who was urinated upon on an international flight of Air India has moved the Supreme Court seeking guidelines on unruly and disruptive behaviour in airplanes and a change in alcohol policy. She has also sought restrictions on media reporting of the criminal case ongoing in the Patiala House Court on grounds that it was affecting fair trial through selective leaks of information. The Prayagraj Development Authority raised the property of Mohammad Ghulam, an accused in the Umesh Pal murder case. Based on a complaint lodged by Umesh Pal's wife Jayapal, a case was registered against Atiq Ahmed, his relatives and aides, including Mohammad Ghulam. BRS MLC K. Kavita appeared before the Enforcement Directorate for the second round of questioning on Delhi's liquor policy case. This comes after she skipped the earlier summons, citing her petition challenging ED notice was pending for hearing in the Supreme Court. Archbishop of Roman Catholic Church, Amar Joseph Pamplani, voiced support for the ruling BJP. He said, and I quote, "The believers of the church will help the BJP to elect its first MP from the state if the union government raises the price of natural rubber to 300 rupees per kg." Reacting to the comment made by the Archbishop, Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar said that the statement of the bishop is welcoming. He further said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi always supported inclusive development.
No, I think it's a very welcome statement by the Bishop of Talasheri. I was there in December of last year, where I visited with many students and many young Malayalis in that area. And it is clear that the Prime Minister has always stood for Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And it is important that community leaders stand up and explain to the members of their community that the Prime Minister has been relentlessly working for the betterment of all Indians, regardless of their religion, regardless of where they come from. So I welcome this statement by the Bishop of Talasheri.
Protests were staged over Karnataka BJP leader K.S. Ishwarappa's remark on Azan. A protester performed Azan at the premises of the District Commissioner's office in Shivamogga district. The video of the incident has gone viral. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks on wide-ranging issues with Japanese Prime Minister to expand India-Japan strategic partnership for a peaceful, stable and prosperous post-COVID world. The Japanese PM arrived today for a two-day visit.
आज प्रधानमंत्री किशिदा ने मुझे मई महीने में हिरोशिमा से मैं होने वाली G7 लीडर समिट के लिए निमंत्रण दिया। इसके लिए मैं उनका हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं। इसके कुछ महीनों बाद सितंबर में G20 लीडर समिट के लिए मुझे प्रधानमंत्री किशिदा का फिर से भारत में स्वागत करने का अवसर मिलेगा।
Special Investigation Unit of the Kashmir Police conducted searches in the Kakapora area of South Kashmir's Pulwama district. Raids were conducted at the property of Lashkar-e-Toiba commander Riaz Ahmed Dar, who has been active for 8 years and is believed to be one of the oldest surviving terrorists. Auto rickshaw drivers in Bengaluru called for a strike in protest against private bike taxi aggregators functioning in the city. Over 2 lakh auto rickshaws will remain off roads till midnight. The auto rickshaw union called for a strike because they claim that the bike taxis jeopardize the livelihoods of auto rickshaw drivers. We're heading into a break now, and after the break we'll get you more news on Amritpal, who is still untraceable. Also coming up after the break, Amritpal backers protested outside the Indian High Commission in London. India has lodged strong protest with UK.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
The Bengaluru Auto Drivers Unions Federation has declared a strike and are protesting against e-bike taxi services operating in the city, which they claim is illegal. The union has called for a ban on bike taxis because they claim it jeopardizes the livelihoods of auto rickshaw drivers.
The Auto Drivers Union have gone on to launch a protest out here in the streets of Bengaluru, stating that they are protesting against bike taxis as well. And now we are looking at many auto drivers who are being bundled off by the cops out here at Maurya Circle in the heart of the city as well, because the union for long has now been demanding that there should be a ban on bike taxis, which says that it goes on and threatens the lives of auto rickshaw drivers as well. And this is something which has been stressed now and again. But then in 2011, the Karnataka High Court had gone on to give some sort of respite to them, where there was an, where there was a stay order which was given by them as well. And now the auto drivers are going on to state that the bike taxi is exploiting youngsters by deceiving them on incentives as well. But all said and done, it's a huge ruckus which has broken out as well, where the auto drivers unions are protesting in many parts across Bengaluru too. With video journalist Bhagat Prajwal Prasad reporting for Republic, Bengaluru.
And we're heading into a break right now. After the break, we'll get you how India is lodging a strong protest against with the UK over the free run to Khalistani forces. Also coming up after the break, details of talks between Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida with Prime Minister Modi.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence. The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their audios of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering a back in the residence from the other gates. We'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
And getting you the headlines we are tracking at this hour, Punjab police confirmed fugitive Amritpal still on the run. Operation underway to nab him. From foreign funding to ISI link, Amritpal's agenda is exposed and under investigation. Five of Amritpal's aides have been booked under NSA. Cops say that Amritpal is likely to be charged under NSA too. Indian flag targeted by Amritpal backers in London. Indian Sikhs protest outside the UK High Commission in the national capital. Kerala Bishop's pro-BJP statement triggers massive political storm. Is the LDF losing support? Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is on a one-day visit to India. We'll get you all the details on that. And we cut across to breaking news. We are getting to you at 4:30. UK is under massive pressure on tricolour desecration. Only one person has been arrested so far, despite hundreds of them who are clearly seen in the video where the Indian flag is being targeted. UK has admitted that some policemen have also been injured in the incident involving Khalistani elements. But as India takes up this matter very seriously, UK is now under a lot of pressure, and UK is saying that they will take the security of the Indian High Commission very seriously. This has been said by top British officials after Scotland Yard has arrested one person in connection with completely unacceptable vandalism at the mission by Khalistani supporters. The tricolour flying atop the Indian High Commission that was grabbed by the protesters who were waving a separate Khalistani flag and chanting pro-Khalistani slogans on Sunday. After the incident, the police arrested one person related to the violent disorder. Officials from the mission have said that they attempted to arrest more, but that failed. However, a lot of anger that is now brewing, and Sikhs in India also protesting in the national capital against what has happened. Sushant Sareen is with us on the phone line. Sushant, clearly UK is under a lot of pressure, but what are the concrete steps that can now be taken? Because fact is that only one arrest has been made, and that is not satisfactory. There are so many who are clearly seen in the video, and it is not difficult to identify their faces. Then why is it that we don't see solid action being taken?
Look, the only reason why I can think that solid action is not being taken is because the British government, or at least the state, the establishment in Britain, is complicit in this action. They deliberately and willfully turn a blind eye to these acts of vandalism, and this is not the first time something like this has happened. Pakistani terrorists have often attacked the Indian High Commission. They've thrown all kinds of excrement on the mission. And that has happened on a couple of occasions. Now you see these Khalistani terrorists do the same thing. Until and unless we now respond very strongly to this action, and it's not good enough for some ministers and some officials in Britain to say that this is unacceptable. What the hell do you mean by it's unacceptable? Something which happens over and over and over again, and you keep saying, and then you have these third-rate British journalists who have served in India. Write these longish tweets saying that, we try and keep a very light touch. What is a light touch? When somebody gets killed or assaulted, is that when this thing will end from the British part? They did it in the 80s when an Indian official in the Birmingham consulate was kidnapped and killed by Kashmiri terrorists, or Pakistani terrorists rather, I should say. At that point of time also, nothing really happened. Now, this is an eyewash arrest of one person, even though they know that a lot of those people out there were part of this action outside the Indian High Commission. Yet you have just arrested one person. You don't have a fix on who these third-rate people are. So this is a typical kind of eyewash action by the perfidious Albion, which is what the British are known as. And they have done this constantly. They have pandered to these groups. They have deliberately turned a blind eye to these groups, despite warning after warning to the British authorities that they need to crack down on this activity. The British have deliberately allowed this to happen. So for them to feign ignorance and this attitude which they have taken, that they are really appalled by what has happened, it's just a sheer dissemble on their part. It is deception on their part. I don't think they are sincere. I don't think Britain is behaving like a friendly country anymore.
In fact, that was going to be my next question to you, that the Modi government had informed the White Hall about planned Sikh extremist protests earlier this month, and the indifference of the British government to pulling down the Indian flag has clearly riled up the highest levels in New Delhi, and the Modi government being very clear that this could have serious repercussions.
Look, I don't know whether it's sufficiently riled up the government in India. I think the kind of statement which came out from the government of India is pretty pro forma. It does not say anything more than what it doesn't say what more needs to be done. They've demanded the pro forma stuff, that you arrest these people, etc., etc. But I think something much more needs to be done, so that the British wake up and smell the coffee, that this is simply not acceptable to any Indian. And if this kind of a thing is going to continue, then I think certain stronger steps need to be taken by the Indian government. This diplomacy has gone on for far too long. Look, here is this guy who climbs up on top of the balcony. What if he was armed? What if some of these characters were armed? What if they threw some, IED or some locally assembled crude bomb inside? What would happen then? Who was responsible for that kind of an action then? Is that what the British are waiting for? And this attitude of theirs, even from the Indian government, I'm sorry. And just yesterday, another act of vandalism has happened in San Francisco. What are we doing about that? Have we taken it up with the American authorities? This kind of nonsense, which we keep issuing these demarches, that's not good enough. I'll tell you why it's not good enough, because despite constant reminders to our partners in other countries, these actions are not stopping. They are not stopping this kind of stuff. Our temples are being vandalized. Our people are brutalized. They are being targeted. They are being hit. They are being assaulted, and nothing is happening. And these countries call themselves civilized. They give lectures of democracy to us. Shame on them.
And that is why, Sushant Sareen, it is a growing concern that needs immediate attention, because clearly raising the issues of vandalism and the incidents of violence that have been happening across Canada, Australia, UK, we are not seeing a collective effort or strong enough action being taken despite promises made by the various governments. What exactly is the centre now planning to do? We are keeping a close eye on that. Sushant Sareen, thank you for speaking to us this afternoon. We continue to get you more responses on this. For the moment, we move on. And well, the Bandipora police attached two residential properties in two separate villages, including Gunpora, Rampora and Chittibande of North Kashmir's Bandipora district, on charges of willful harbouring of terrorists. We are getting you all the details in this next report.
कानून में प्रोविजन है, अगर किसी घर में इनकाउंटर होता है, उस घर में पहले से टेररिस्ट था, हार्मिंग कर रहा था, तो ऑब्वियसली हम लोग उसको उस यूपीए केस में बंद करते हैं। लेकिन हम लोग डिसीजन लिए ऐसे प्रॉपर्टी को हम लोग पहले भी सीज किए, आगे भी सीज करते रहेंगे। नंबर इसका बढ़ रहा है, एनआई भी कुछ कर रही है, एसआई भी कर रही है, हमारे एसआईओ और डिस्ट्रिक्ट पुलिस भी काफ़ी कर रही है। इसको हम लोग पूरा पिछले 5-6 साल में जितना इनकाउंटर्स हुआ है, जिस घर में टेररिस्ट ने पहना लिया था, चाहे व्हीकल का यूज किया हो, चाहे प्रॉपर्टी का, हाउस का, बिल्डिंग का, उसको हम लोग अटैच करेंगे, कर रहे हैं। पहले भी इनकाउंटर हुआ है तो केस चलान हो गया चार्जशीट, लेकिन चार्जशीट करने का कानून में प्रोविजन है कि 33 जो यूपीए हमारे प्रोविजन सेक्शन है, उसकी तरह जो केस चार्जशीट हो गया उसके बाद भी प्रॉपर्टी को अटैच हम कर सकते हैं कोर्ट की परमिशन से, और कर रहे हैं हम लोग। देखिए, G20 के बाद सिक्योरिटी का जो पैरामीटर है सेम रहेगा, उसको बढ़ाते रहेंगे हम लोग, और पूरे फुल प्रूफ सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करेंगे, अमरनाथ यात्रा करेंगे जैसे लास्ट ईयर किए थे। इस बार चूँकि और आने का है, लोग और ज़्यादा नंबर आएंगे, तो उसी ढंग से सिक्योरिटी भी प्रोवाइड हम लोग करेंगे, फुल प्रूफ सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करेंगे।
Stepping into a short commercial break. On the other side, we get you details as the Punjab police confirmed fugitive Amritpal Singh, who is still on the run. Operation is underway to nab him. And from foreign funding to ISI link, Amritpal's agenda is exposed and under investigation.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence. The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special
massive manhunt for Khalistani Amritpal. Who let Amritpal compromise national security? who gave Amritpal a long rope so far, debating tonight at 9 p.m.
Thank you for staying with Republican. Well, the Vijay Sankalp Yatra that was called off yet again, this time midway in Devangiri after unruly supporters of BJP ticket aspirants clashed with each other. BJP workers gherawed BJP MLA Renukacharya and BJP MP GM Siddeshwara. Here's what happened.
It's BJP versus BJP at the Vijay Sankalp Yatra. Supporters of BJP MLA Madal Virupakshappa's son Madal Prashant and supporters of another ticket aspirant Shivakumar clashed. As a result of the clash between BJP ticket aspirants, the Vijay Sankalp Yatra called off midway in Devanagari. The cops had to escort the BJP MLA and MP to safety as hundreds of BJP workers encircled them. There were chants of cheating as the MLA and MP were escorted to safety, who left immediately from the spot.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
And while North Korean state media says the country's military held a tactical drill for nuclear counterattack over the weekend on the 18th and 19th of March, including the launch of a tactical ballistic missile tipped with a mock nuclear warhead. Here's the report.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un walked hand in hand with his daughter as walked through a dense forest to inspect the latest military drill. The North Korean leader was on his way to supervise one of the many ballistic missile drills that his country has been conducting since a week. The country's state media has stated that nuclear drills are a part of country's nuclear counterattack. Kim Jong-un has stressed that the military should be in an active posture and ready for an overwhelming nuclear counterattack at all times. North Korea believes that its power to show off the nuclear weapons will send a strong message to its enemies. North Korea has been criticizing ongoing joint US and South Korea military exercises. Agency report for Republic TV.
Time for a short commercial break. On the other side, Indian flag targeted by Amritpal backers in London. Indian Sikhs protest outside the UK High Commission in the national capital.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
And we got across to breaking news coming in. Foreign Secretary has now responded to Khalistanis vandalizing the flag at the Indian High Commission in London, saying we've already put out India's response to it, which UK Deputy High Commission was asked for an explanation for. Perpetrators need to be arrested and prosecuted. We've clearly indicated to the British authorities the need to put up security and heighten it at the UK High Commission. Listen in to that detailed statement. Yes, that is exactly what has been said by the Indian Foreign Secretary, who's responded to the attack on the Indian flag in London. He's gone on to say that UK envoy has been asked for an explanation, also saying that the culprits must be arrested. Remember the entire video that shows you the faces of those who had vandalized and pulled down the Indian flag. However, only one arrest has been made so far, with the Indian Foreign Secretary now saying that strict action needs to be taken and the perpetrators need to be arrested and prosecuted. Listen in to what he said.
UK incident we have already put out yesterday evening, late evening. India's response to it, in which the UK Deputy High Commissioner was summoned and was one demanding an explanation, two asked to be the culprits and the perpetrators of what happened at London yesterday to be quickly arrested and prosecuted. He launched a strong protest and also clearly indicated to the British authorities for the need for them to put up adequate security at the UK High Commission.
Quick check of what's coming up on the other side. Punjab police has confirmed fugitive Amritpal, who is still on the run, and the operation to nab him is underway. Also, from foreign funding to ISI link, Amritpal's agenda is exposed and under investigation.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gates. We'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence. The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones.
Massive manhunt for Khalistani Amritpal. Who let Amritpal compromise national security? Who gave Amritpal a long rope so far? Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
Punjab police confirm fugitive Amritpal, who is still on the run, and the operation to nab him is underway. From foreign funding to ISI link, Amritpal's agenda is exposed and under investigation.
वो NSA दे डाटा न्यूज़ है, NSA के तहत पे जा इसमें लगाया गया है। जी बिल्कुल लगाया गया।
5 of Amritpal's aides booked under NSA. Cops say Amritpal likely to be charged under NSA 2. Indian flag targeted by Amritpal backers in London. Indian Sikhs protest outside UK High Commission in New Delhi. Kerala Bishop's pro-BJP statement triggers massive political storm. Is the LDF losing support? Sending a big message to the West. Chinese President lands in Russia. Discussion over Ukraine on the cards. Thank you for staying with Republic. You're watching live and breaking at 5 p.m. I'm Suesha Samant and our non-stop focus as the Punjab police has confirmed that Amritpal Singh is still on the run and a massive operation is underway to nab him. A news conference that concluded just a short while ago where the Punjab police also put out details of how 5 of his aides are in custody. In fact, they have been sent to Dibrugarh and NSA has been imposed on them. Also, when Amritpal Singh is arrested, very likely possibility that NSA could be imposed on him too. Also, the operation on Waris Punjab, the chief, Amritpal Singh, as the police is now revealing details of how there are possible ISI links that are also under probe, and also the foreign funding angle that they are looking into very closely on where the money to fund Amritpal Singh and Waris Punjab is coming from. Not just this, Amritpal Singh's uncle and driver who had surrendered late last night before the police, in fact that happened at midnight, and the mercenaries of Amritpal Singh that was also recovered by the police. Internet services that still stand suspended, so much so that it's been extended till noon tomorrow in Punjab. We are also getting you more voices on this. Let's listen in.
अमृतपाल के चाचा ने और उनके ड्राइवर ने जो है पुलिस के सामने सरेंडर किया है। बात करने के लिए अमृतपाल के पिता हमारे साथ तरसेम जी मौजूद हैं। सर, आपके भाई और जो उनके ड्राइवर थे उन्होंने जो है सरेंडर किया है पुलिस के सामने। क्या आपको इस बाबत पहले जानकारी थी, आपसे बात हुई थी उनकी?
उनका रात को 10 बजे के आसपास एक फ़ोन आया था, तो उन्होंने यही बताया था कि हम सरेंडर करने जा रहे हैं। हमारा कुछ गुनाह तो कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन पुलिस अगर हमको गिरफ्तार करना चाह रही है तो हम तैयार हैं उसके लिए। तो हम लोग का पहले भी भागने का कोई मंशा नहीं थी, लेकिन हम लोग अपना प्रोग्राम अटेंड करने के लिए उधर जाना चाह रहे थे कि चलो ये दाएं बाएं होके कैसे निकल जाएं। तो और कोई हमारा भागने का किसी कोई ऐसा कोई प्लान नहीं था। तो इसलिए हम सुबह मेरी डीआईजी से बात हो रही है या होगी है, तो मैं सुबह तक सरेंडर कर दूंगा।
देखिए, पुलिस ने कुछ दावे किस चीज़ों के किए हैं। एक जो इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसीज बताती हैं कि जो यहाँ पे AKF लिखा है, अमृतपाल एक फ़ौज खड़ी करना चाहते थे अपनी और हथियारबंद लोगों को अपने साथ जोड़ना चाहते थे। ये आरोप जो हैं केंद्रीय एजेंसियाँ लगा रही।
नहीं, ऐसा बिल्कुल फेक हुआ है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था। उन्होंने वो जो लड़के थे उन्होंने पता नहीं उसका आनंदपुर खालसा अपने हथियारों पे आनंदपुर खालसा फौज ऐसा लिखा,
बिल्कुल सही
है। तो बाकी तो ऐसा कोई फौज जोड़ने का कोई धंधा नहीं था। कोई ऐसा 5-6 आदमी से फौज खड़ा होता है।
वो कह रहे हैं कि जो एंटी ड्रग्स की बात की जा रही है कि ड्रग एडिक्शन से युवाओं को दूर करना था, उसके नाम पे जो है एक फौज को खड़ा करना था, जो अमृतपाल का एक बड़ा प्लान था जिसको सफल नहीं होने दिया गया।
नहीं, वो ऐसा कोई प्लान नहीं था। वो प्लान तो खाली नशा तस्करों के साथ ही कोई उनकी हो सकती है, बाकी और किसी को कोई फौज खड़ी करने के लिए कोई ऐसा कोई प्लान नहीं था। वो खाली जो उनके पास 5-7 आदमी थे वो खाली उनकी सेफ्टी के लिए थे और कोई लड़ाई झगड़ा के लिए, कोई फौज के लिए नहीं थे।
पुलिस ने कल एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की जिसमें कहा कि आपके घर की सर्च हुई, कुछ नहीं मिला, लेकिन अमृतपाल के साथियों के पास जो भी हथियार मिले हैं सभी के सभी इलीगल हथियार हैं। वो गुरपेश ने अमृतपाल के कहने पे उसके साथियों को दिए थे और एक FIR जो है अमृतपाल के नाम पे दर्ज कर दी गई।
लेकिन ये सब फेक केस बनाए जा रहे हैं। जब कि उनके पास हमारे सामने हम जो बातचीत होती थी वो सारे लीगल हथियार थे। अभी पुलिस ने क्या लीगल छिपा के दूसरे पेश किए, वो तो पुलिस का जो धंधा है वो कर रहे हैं अपना, जब बदनाम कर रहे हैं अमृतपाल को। ऐसा कुछ नहीं था, देश के अपने कानून के बाहर कोई भी चीज़ नहीं थी। तो इससे सब सही था। लेकिन अभी वो क्या कहानी बना रहे हैं वो तो उनको क्या रूप देना चाह रहे हैं वो पुलिस ही बता सकती है।
आपके भाई जिन्होंने ये सरेंडर किया है वो अमृतपाल के साथ हमेशा रहा करते थे, हर बार मतलब ये माना जाता था कि सबसे क्लोज वही हैं। उन्होंने क्या आपको अमृतपाल के बारे में कुछ बताया? अमृतपाल कहाँ हैं, क्यों भागे हैं, क्या है?
नहीं, वो उन्होंने वही बताया था कि उन्होंने पहले पूछा था कि अमृतपाल का कुछ आपके साथ कोई संपर्क हुआ अभी तक, कि मेरे को तो ना तो पुलिस का जानकारी से या ना किसी से, ऐसे उनको भी जो ऐसे टीवी मीडिया के थ्रू थोड़ी बहुत ही बात थी तो वो भी चिंतित थे कि वो किधर है, तो अगर आप लोग को मालूम है तो मेरे को बताओ। लेकिन हम लोग को भी कोई उसके बारे में अभी तक कोई जानकारी नहीं है। हम लोग को तो यकीन है कि पुलिस की कस्टडी में है वो, तो हम लोग को वो भी बोला कि मेरे को भी ऐसा डाउट है कि वो पुलिस की कस्टडी में ही हो सकते हैं। बाहर तक किधर जाने का कोई ना प्लान था ना कोई कोशिश थी ऐसे, तो हमारा जो कोशिश भी थोड़ी बहुत थी तो हम लोग को अपना
टोपां दी लोड़ है। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਮਾਨ ਜੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵਿਕਾਸ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ एक ईमानदार मुख्यमंत्री के हत्थों के विच है और विकास दीयां लीहां ते है। उदों विकास की जां बंदूकां की लोड़ नहीं, जॉबां ते लैपटॉपां की लोड़ है। जिहड़ी कोशिश सरदार भगवंत सिंह मान जी कर रहे हैं, जिन्ना विकास जिन्ना लोकां नूं नौकरियां दित्तियां इस वेले पंजाब एक ईमानदार मुख्यमंत्री के हत्थों के विच है और विकास दीयां लीहां ते है। उदों
पंजाब इज इन द हैंड्स ऑफ एन ऑनेस्ट चीफ मिनिस्टर
मान जी की सरकार जिहड़ी कदी नहीं लथन दऊगी। सो 3 दिन तो जिस ढंग दे नाल जिस तरीके दे नाल
एंड द पंजाब विल बी ऑन द लाइंस ऑफ ऑनेस्टी एंड चीफ मिनिस्टर विल नॉट
तुसी सारे मीडिया लोग जानदे हो
डिस्ट्रैक्ट दिस।
ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲੇ
दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम दैट हैपेंड इन पंजाब
ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋਇਆ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੋਕ पंजाब नूं अग दे विच झोक दिता गया।
Earlier political leaders tried to control the revenue of the Punjab and Punjab went to the losses.
पंजाब दी पुलिस ने सरदार भगवंत सिंह मान दी अगवाई हेठ पंजाब दे पुलिस अफसरां ने मुलाजमां ने बहुत ही वधिया ढंग दे नाल स्थिति नूं जिहड़ा कंट्रोल कीता और जिहड़ा साडे ते बार-बार कहा जाता सी तुसीं
Now the Punjab police under the guidance of Chief Minister has actually controlled the situation in Punjab.
कि सर कार्रवाई नहीं हो रही, कार्रवाई नहीं हो रही। सो असी
Media raised several questions that why no action against Amritpal.
ਕਿਸੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦਾ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋਵੇ। ਸੋ ਜਿਸ ਢੰਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਨੂੰ
We were very much concerned about the people of Punjab that there should be no loss to Punjabis.
ਸਲੂਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਮੁਲਾਜ਼ਮਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਲੂਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ मतलब पहला भी अजनाले दे विच भी स्थिति नूं बहुत वधिया ढंग दे नाल नजिठिया ते हुण भी पंजाब
I salute and congratulate the police officials who have actually controlled the situation even in Ajnala police station and now as well.
जिहड़ी कार्रवाई कीती है और एक मैसेज दिता कि पंजाब दी सरकार
and the action has been taken against those who actually try to disturb the peace and harmony of Punjab. People of Punjab have trusted and given their vote to Chief Minister Bhagwant Singh Maan and it has been held by Chief Minister. We have handled the situation in such a good manner that the peace and the Sikh sentiments has been taken into the consideration. We would like to tell the Punjabis that they should not fear, they should not scared about anything. The law and order situation is very much maintained in Punjab. Punjab is completely on the lines of the development.
ਮੁੱਖ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਇਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਅਮਨ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਦੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਹਰ ਪਾਸੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ
We are ensuring to all the people of Punjab that law and order situation has been maintained completely in Punjab. There is no point to worry about anything. All the opposition parties has collectively raised the voice that why the government is not taking action.
ਔਰ ਬੜੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਢੰਗ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬ 'ਚ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਚਪੇਟ।
And now the strict action is still underway and taken against
ਜੋ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ
the people.
ਜੋ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਕੀਤੀ, ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਦੋਸ਼ ਨੇ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੈਰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨੀ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਦਾ ਕਾਨੂੰਨੀ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੋਊਗੀ। ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਨੂੰ
Legal action has been taken and it is still underway against those who have taken the law into their hands. And even now the situation has been completely under the control and police has initiated this action against those.
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਤਾਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਦੂਜੀਆਂ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਸੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਕਰੋ ਜੀ, ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਕਰੋ ਜੀ।
Media has raised several questions on the working of government related to the law and order situation and action against these hardliners and the radicals.
ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਦੀ ਨਿੰਦਾ ਕਰਦਾ, ਮਤਲਬ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ। ਪਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸਭ ਨੇ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਸਲਾਹ, ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਸੈਂਕੜੇ ਕਾਲਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਲਕੇ ਤੋਂ, ਪੂਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ, ਇਨਾਲੇ ਤੋਂ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ, ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਐਦਾਂ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਦੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਕੇ।
I have received several calls from Punjab and across the globe regarding the law and order situation in Punjab, but now the action is very much visible.
ਨਹੀਂ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਸਰ। NRI ਵੱਡੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਵਾਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੈਸਾ ਲਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ, ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿਕਾਸ ਲਈ।
NRIs are very much willing to invest in Punjab.
ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ, ਜੇ ਕੋਈ 2-4 ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਦਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ।
And NRIs are extending their full support to Maan government.
ਕਿੰਨੇ NRI ਆ ਕੇ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਮਾਨ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਅਗਵਾਈ ਦੇ ਹੇਠ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਿਕਾਸ ਕਰ।
Everybody will get to know that how many NRIs are going to invest in Punjab under the leadership of Bhagwant Maan.
ਸਰ ਜੀ ਫੇਰ ਸੁਣੋ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਮਾਨ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਅਗਵਾਈ ਹੇਠ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੋਬਾਂ ਤੇ ਲੈਪਟਾਪ ਫੜਾਊਗੀ, ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਬੰਦੂਕਾਂ ਫੜਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਊਗੀ।
Punjab under the leadership of Chief Minister is now providing the jobs to the youth.
That is the Aam Aadmi Party news briefing that has just concluded, and I'd also like to bring in my colleague Amandeep, who stays with us on the broadcast. Amandeep, well, the Aam Aadmi Party assuring that all is under control in the state of Punjab. There is absolutely no law and order situation. Also saying that those who are responsible will have to face action, and the Maan government is not going to spare them. Also lauding the Aam Aadmi Party for the way they are conducting Operation Amritpal.
Well, absolutely, Swesha. This is the first statement from the side of the government and the Aam Aadmi Party after the action and the crackdown against Amritpal Singh and Waris Punjab Day. Though the law and order situation has been maintained on the ground, just because we are in Jalandhar and we have just taking the stock of the situation from entire Punjab, law and order situation has been maintained, and in fact there is peace and calm just because extreme force has been pushed on the ground to maintain the law and order situation. Flag marches are out by the police and the paramilitary forces. Announcements has been made. Certain districts were under section 144 immediately after the crackdown against Amritpal Singh. But in this entire scenario, Swesha, that one thing is still missing and still very uncertain, where the uncertainty is prevailing, that Amritpal Singh is still not in the custody of police. he is still on the run and he is still planning his own things. That is the point of concern and that is the point of worry, that now Amritpal Singh will definitely come up with his own big plans. If he has done that in Ajnala police station, now what he is going to do when he is not in the custody of police? The entire crackdown was to nab Amritpal Singh. Though police have nabbed certain people connected to Waris Punjab Day and even close associates of Amritpal Singh as well, even his...
काफ़ी आकर्षक है और ये इस गार्डन के आकर्षण का भी एक केंद्र है। तो बोधिसत्व जो वृक्ष है, जो श्रीलंका से जो लाया गया है, वो और भगवान बुद्ध की जो प्रतिमा है, वो दोनों इस बुद्ध गार्डन की आकर्षण का केंद्र है। और यहाँ प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और जापान के प्रधानमंत्री फुमियो किशिदा की ये चहलकदमी, ये भी कहीं ना कहीं इतिहास बन रहा है। और ये जो बुद्ध जयंती पार्क है, इसको ये एक नया रूप दिया है, इसने एक नया अवसर दिया है। और इस वक्त बोधिसत्व पर, जो बोधिसत्व वृक्ष है, उस पर दोनों प्रधानमंत्रियों ने पुष्प अर्पित किए।
Also going across to senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor, who's with us on the phone line. Those pictures, Abhishek, of Prime Minister Modi with the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida at the Buddha Jayanti Park, once again symbolic of the strong ties, and also the very important talks that Prime Minister Modi has had with his Japanese counterpart. This really is an extension to that friendship. Tell us more.
Well, yes, so we saw that joint press statement by the two Prime Ministers, Suesha, where essentially the two leaders presented a complete picture of India-Japan relationship, where it stands, where it goes from here, looking into the future. For example, Prime Minister briefed Prime Minister Kishida on our G20 priorities and how Japan fits into them. And similarly, announcement was made that Prime Minister Kishida has invited Prime Minister Modi as a special invitee to the G7 summit, which Japan is hosting as president in the month of May. And also, while the two leaders are at the Buddha Jayanti Park, and Prime Minister has said that earlier in a different context that this is the time for Buddha and not Yudh, and or for that matter, in the case of in the context of Europe war, he has said that this is not an era of war. There is an intense, engaging cooperation between the two sides when it comes to defense. So, for example, we are going to have the Malabar exercises as part of the Quad grouping effectively in the month of May, June. And then this year, at the start in the month of January, I believe there was the Veer Guardian exercise between the two air forces, and then the armies had their fourth Dharma Guardian exercise, joint exercises conducted in Japan. So I think, and apart from the fact that Japan and India have a very long-standing, durable economic development partnership. Japan, one of the first OECD countries to be very openly embracing development projects in India, and the latest one, of course, coming up, the Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train. Apart from that, of course, post the COVID realignment, so we have seen the supply chains shifting to other places out of China, and the China 1+1 strategy, and then, of course, the overall change of geostrategic, geopolitical scene in the world post-COVID to make sure that the Chinese bellicosity and belligerence is contained or responded to. So we had Prime Minister Kishida, for example, delivering the 41st Tej Bahadur Sapru lecture, Sapru House Memorial Lecture under the aegis of the Indian Council of World Affairs just about an hour and a half back, where he mentioned how Japan is coordinating between nations in the South China Sea and in that area in the region of the Indo-Pacific to make sure that international concepts like territorial integrity, no unilateral action, no coercion, and rule of law are followed, obviously, without mentioning China. So there's a lot of coming together of interests, commonality of objectives when it comes to Japan and India on the back of a very deep understanding and appreciation of each other's concerns. And apart from that, of course, as it happens, Prime Minister Modi engages with the Japanese leadership in a manner that brings in an additional level of comfort. We saw how that extra bit of chemistry was visible when late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was the first leader Prime Minister Modi met after taking over as Prime Minister of India in 2014 when he flew outside of South Asia on his first foreign trip abroad. The first one, of course, was Bhutan. And then we saw Prime Minister Abe being hosted in Ahmedabad with that fantastic roadshow, a huge one, from the airport to the hotel and then at other landmarks of Ahmedabad, including Mahatma Gandhi's Sabarmati Ashram. And so now we are seeing these pictures of the two leaders at the Buddha Jayanti Park and both leaders underscoring that Buddhism connect that exists between the two nations, Japan having a very strong Buddhist linkage with India, and a tremendous amount of tourist inflow happens to India from Japan, essentially aimed at the Buddhist circuit, all the sites associated with Lord Buddha, essentially in UP and Bihar. And we have seen, for example, how the airports at Varanasi, airport at Kushinagar have been upgraded to international airports to facilitate pilgrim visits to these important sites so far as Buddhism is concerned. And Prime Minister has always believed that Buddhism heritage is something which gives India a lot of soft power influence over our Asian nations in the east, including Southeast Asia, and to the Far East, of course, Japan. So in that sense, I think these pictures really underscore the connect that's there between the two nations and the coming together of the leaderships of respective nations to take a common agenda, which is about global peace. Prime Minister Kishida, in fact, when he was addressing giving that memorial lecture, the Tej Bahadur Sapru Memorial Lecture, mentioned how he quoted Prime Minister Modi that this is not an era of war and nobody should be unilaterally changing anybody's territorial integrity or impacting any other nation's territorial integrity. So I think his intention was perhaps aimed at Russia, but the fact is that Prime Minister Modi increasingly gets quoted. Similarly, we had seen German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, for example, quoting Prime Minister Modi at the Munich Security Dialogue last month, so before he arrived in India. These are one of those high-power visits which are significant, essentially in the nature of reviewing where the relationship and the partnership stands, exchange of minds, ideas, and face-to-face engagement to see how the two leaders, the two nations really can continue to impact and influence global events in a manner that most of the concerns of the world, for example, climate change, on which, again, India and Japan are cooperating or collaborating in a manner that latest of technology is available at the cheapest of price and at a mass level and becomes a global common good, or for that matter, India's contribution by way of the digitalization of economy and social life, a model of which has been presented by way of Aadhaar, for example, how it can be replicated around the world and how Japan can collaborate on that. So G20, G7, Quad, and all these platforms, IPEF, which was announced last year as a trade platform, coming together more like a counter to the Belt and Road Initiative of China on the side of democracies, for example. So I think a lot of coming together of mind, coming together of ideas, and exchange of notes as to how we continue to collaborate, cooperate, work together to make sure that that multilateralism remains intact, that no one nation holds rest of the world to ransom or influences it in a coercive manner. So I think it's a significant visit that's really panned out. And remember, this is the first one this year, but the two leaders will be meeting again in the month of May in Japan itself, in Hiroshima, when the G7 summit happens, and then again for the Quad summit immediately after that in Sydney within a gap of 2 days, and then again in the month of September back here in New Delhi when the leaders summit of G20 happens. So all those occasions coming up where the two leaders will be meeting again and appraising whatever decisions, discussions that took place at the summit level talks at the Hyderabad House about a couple of hours back.
Oh yes, absolutely. And the two nations really leading the way for a stronger strategic partnership for a peaceful, stable and prosperous post-COVID world. We leave it at that, Abhishek. Thank you for getting us all these details. We have to slip into a very short commercial break. Also a quick check of the big stories Republic is tracking this evening. Indian flag targeted by Amritpal backers in London. Sikhs in India protest outside the UK High Commission in the national capital. Also, it's a big message to the West. Chinese president has landed in Russia and a discussion over Ukraine is on the cards.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
Massive manhunt for Khalistani Amritpal. Who let Amritpal compromise national security? Who gave Amritpal a long rope so far? Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
Indian flag targeted by Amritpal backers in London. Indian Sikhs protest outside UK High Commission in New Delhi. Sending a big message to the West. And also foreign funding to ISI link, Amritpal's agenda is exposed and under investigation.
वो NSA ਦੇ ਡੈਟੀ ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਹੈ, NSA ਦੇ ਤਹਿਤ ਭੇਜਿਆ। इसमें लगाया गया है? जी जी बिल्कुल लगाया गया है।
Five of Amritpal's aides booked under NSA. Cops say Amritpal likely to be charged under NSA too. Indian flag targeted by Amritpal backers in London. Indian Sikhs protest outside UK High Commission in New Delhi. Kerala Bishop's pro-BJP statement triggers massive political storm. Is the LDF losing support? Sending a big message to the West, Chinese president lands in Russia. Discussion over Ukraine is on the cards. Thank you for staying with Republic. Our non-stop focus is UK is under massive pressure after how the tricolour was desecrated. Only one person has been arrested so far. This despite hundreds of them were clearly seen in the video that is circulating where the Indian flag was targeted by those protesters. UK has admitted that some policemen have been injured in the incident involving Khalistani elements. We are getting you several voices on this as anger is mounting. And any insult to the tricolour is unacceptable. Let's listen in to what's coming in.
UK incident we have already put out yesterday evening, late evening. India's response to it, in which the UK Deputy High Commissioner was summoned and was one demanding an explanation, two asked the culprits and the perpetrators of what happened at London yesterday to be quickly arrested and prosecuted. He launched a strong protest and also clearly indicated to the British authorities for the need for them to put up adequate security at the UK High Commission.
देश के साथ हम सिख खड़े हैं। तिरंगा हमारी जान, आन, बान और शान है और किसी भी सूरत में जो तिरंगे की मुखालफत करते हैं मैं उनको बताना चाहता हूं वो आप सिखों की मुखालफत कर रहे हैं। अगर आप सिखों से प्यार करते हैं तो आपको हमारे तिरंगे से भी प्यार करना चाहिए। मैं ये सब सिखों को विदेशों में कहना चाहता हूं, हमारे लिए ऐसी सिचुएशन मत राइज कीजिए। आप उन एजेंसियों के हाथों में मत खेलिए। बहुत सारे सिखों ने बाहर जाके तरक्की की है, उस तरक्की से हम खुश होते हैं। इसी तरह भारत का सिख भी ये उम्मीद करता है कि विदेशों में जब कुछ लोग एजेंसियों के हाथों में खेलते हैं तो वो भी हमारा साथ दें और वहाँ के सिख भी आवाज़ उठाएं इन लोगों के खिलाफ जो लोग हमारे तिरंगे को बदनाम और हमारे देश के खिलाफ बोलते हैं।
And yes, anger is mounting, and also how the Modi government had informed about planned Sikh extremist protests earlier this month, which the Modi government had raised with UK. However, the indifference of the British government that is now certainly getting a lot of responses, riling up the highest levels of the centre, clearly stating that there will be repercussions also. The Foreign Secretary, like you heard in that statement, saying that the culprits must be arrested and India is raising this with the UK. More reactions on this as Sikhs in India are protesting outside the UK High Commission in the national capital, saying that this insult to the tricolour by pro-Khalistani supporters will not be tolerated.
उनको यही मैसेज देना चाहते हैं, वो जो कर रहे हैं वो गलत कर रहे हैं। उसकी बदौलत हम जो छोटे छोटे पिंडों में बैठे हुए हैं, शहरों में हैं, उनके ऊपर रिएक्ट होता है। दूसरी पार्टियां हम पे रिएक्ट करती हैं, हम पे भेदभाव का विचार रखते हैं। हम उनको कहते हैं जो उनको लेना है कुछ तो खालिस्तान तो आ जाएगा, उसकी हम डिमांड वो कर रहे हैं तो उनका हक करें, पर वो ये चाहें कि जो हमारे बच्चे हैं सिख परिवारों के, वो कुछ पढ़ें लिखें, उनके लिए डिमांड करें कि वो IAS अफसर बने, ऊपर तक जाएं। जब तक जाएंगे नहीं तब तक कुछ हम ले नहीं सकते। जो उन्होंने किया वो गलत किया।
बिल्कुल। और आप यहाँ पे क्या कहना चाहेंगे ऐसे लोगों?
हम प्रोटेस्ट करने हैं यूके की एम्बेसी के आगे कि वहाँ जो घटना घटी है वो नहीं घटनी चाहिए थी। वहाँ पर इंडियन एम्बेसी को प्रॉपर प्रोटेक्शन होनी चाहिए थी, और झंडे का अपमान, हमारे तिरंगे का अपमान हम नहीं सहेंगे। बीइंग इंडियन सिख, वी आर प्राउड टू बी इंडियन सिख्स एंड we are here to protest for our Indian flag. Disrespect नहीं होनी चाहिए इंडियन फ्लैग की।
And on to other top stories we're tracking for you this evening. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri slammed Congress MP Rahul Gandhi over his recent remarks on India's democracy during his London visit. Hardeep Singh Puri said, and I quote, "If any individual goes outside the country, he has the freedom to speak. But along with that freedom comes what I call the need to have a sense of responsibility," unquote.
A private citizen goes outside the country or inside the country, he has a freedom to speak. But along with that freedom to speech comes what I call the need to have a sense of responsibility. Now, if you don't understand how the European Union came into being, and I don't want to take your time to highlight how the Treaty of Rome started with 6 countries and others, how the first union was European Coal Community, European Coal and Steel Community. These are sovereign countries which have joined in order to produce.
The woman who was urinated upon on an international flight of Air India has moved the top court seeking guidelines on unruly and disruptive behavior in airplanes and a change in alcohol policy. She's also sought restrictions on media reporting of the criminal case ongoing in the Patiala House Court on grounds that it was affecting a fair trial through selective leaks of information. Prayagraj Development Authority raised the property of Mohammad Ghulam, an accused in the Umesh Pal murder case based on a complaint lodged by Umesh Pal's wife Jaya Pal. A case was registered against Atiq Ahmed, his relatives and aides including Mohammad Ghulam. BRS MLC K. Kavita appeared before the ED for the second round of questioning on Delhi's liquor policy case. This comes after she skipped the earlier summons, citing her petition challenging ED notice was pending for a hearing in the Supreme Court. Archbishop of Roman Catholic Church, Mark Joseph Pamplani, voiced support for the ruling BJP. He said, and I quote, "The believers of the church will help the BJP to elect its first MP from the state if the union government raises the price of natural rubber to 300 rupees a kg," unquote. After the recent comment, Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar said that the statement of the bishop is welcoming. He further added that Prime Minister Modi was always supportive of inclusive development.
No, I think it's a very welcome statement by the Bishop of Talasheri. I was there in December of last year, where I visited with many students and many young Malayalis in that area. And it is clear that the Prime Minister has always stood for Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And it is important that the community leaders stand up and explain to the members of their community that the Prime Minister has been relentlessly working for the betterment of all Indians, regardless of their religion, regardless of where they come from. So I welcome this statement by the Bishop of Talasheri.
Members of the Muslim community staged a protest over Karnataka BJP leader K.S. Ishwarappa's remark on the azan. A protester performed azan at the premises of the District Commissioner's office in Shivamogga district. The video of the incident has now gone viral. Prime Minister Modi held wide-ranging talks with Japanese Prime Minister Kishida to expand India-Japan strategic partnership for a peaceful, stable and prosperous post-COVID world. Japanese Prime Minister arrived earlier today on a 2-day official visit.
आज प्रधानमंत्री किशिदा ने मुझे मई महीने में हिरोशिमा से मैं होने वाली G7 लीडर समिट के लिए निमंत्रण दिया। इसके लिए मैं उनका हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं। इसके कुछ महीनों बाद सितंबर में G20 लीडर समिट के लिए मुझे प्रधानमंत्री किशिदा का फिर से भारत में स्वागत करने का अवसर मिलेगा।
Special Investigation Unit of the Kashmir Police conducted searches in the Kakapora area of South Kashmir's Pulwama district. Raids were conducted at the property of Lashkar-e-Taiba commander Riaz Ahmed Dar, who has been active for 8 years and is believed to be the one of the oldest surviving terrorists. Sources say more raids are expected in the area. Auto rickshaw drivers in Bengaluru called for a strike in protest against private bike taxi aggregators functioning in the city. Over 2 lakh auto rickshaws will remain off-road till midnight. The auto rickshaw union called for a strike because they claim that the bike taxis jeopardize the livelihood of auto rickshaw drivers. And well, in a crackdown on the aides of the Umesh Pal murder accused, Prayagraj police initiated bulldozer action against gang members and sympathizers of Atiq Ahmed. Earlier, Uttar Pradesh police announced a bounty of 50,000 rupees on gangster-turned-politician Atiq Ahmed's son, who is accused of leading the fatal attack on Umesh Pal. Getting you all the details in this report.
ये गेट जो घर के अंदर को जाता है इस दुकान से, ये पूरा कनेक्टिविटी घर और दुकानों के बीच में थी, क्योंकि मोहम्मद गुलाम की ही ज़मीन जिस पर आगे की तरफ ये दुकानें बनाई गई थी, जिन्हें किराए पर दे दिया गया था, और पीछे की तरफ पूरा घर जहां पर मोहम्मद गुलाम का परिवार रहता था, मोहम्मद गुलाम का भाई और मोहम्मद गुलाम की माँ रहती थी। घर को खाली पूरी तरीके से करा दिया गया है। उसके बाद ये बुलडोजर एक्शन यहाँ पर होता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। ये देखिए पीले पंजे का प्रहार किस तरीके से इस पूरी दीवार को तोड़ता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। पीले पंजे का प्रहार इस दीवार पर, और इस दीवार को तोड़ने का काम यहाँ पर किया जा रहा है। एक एक ईंट को तोड़ा जा रहा है, सब कुछ ढहाया जा रहा है, सब कुछ ध्वस्त किया जा रहा है। एक एक कर ये देखिए तस्वीरें हम आपको तमाम दिखा रहे हैं। ग्राउंड जीरो से सुपर एक्सक्लूसिव तस्वीरें आप देख रहे हैं, जहां पर खबर बाहर रिपब्लिक भारत, और यही एक बड़ी वजह है कि लगातार रिपब्लिक भारत पर आप ये सुपर एक्सक्लूसिव तस्वीरें देख रहे हैं। ये देखिए पीले पंजे का प्रहार यहाँ पर होता आ रहा है, किस तरीके से मोहम्मद गुलाम की अवैध संपत्ति को ध्वस्त किया जा रहा है। ये देखिए बुलडोजर आगे की तरफ बढ़ता हुआ आगे की जो पूरी 2 दुकानें थी उनको पूरी तरीके से ध्वस्त कर दिया गया है। और ये देखिए अब तीसरी दुकान का नंबर जिसे तोड़ने का काम जो है वो अब किया जा रहा है। ये देखिए आगे का जो पूरा शटर है उस शटर को तोड़ा गया है, और इसके साथ ही ये देखिए शटर यहाँ पर पूरी तरीके से तोड़ दिया गया। जेसीबी के माध्यम से ही इस शटर को तोड़ने का काम किया गया है। कुछ सेकंड्स का खेल, और कुछ सेकंड्स में जो तीसरे नंबर की दुकान है वो भी पूरी तरीके से धराशाही आपको नजर आएगी। और ये देखिए एक प्रहार और आधी दुकान पूरी तरीके से धराशायी हो चुकी है। और अब ये देखिए घर के ऊपर की जो छत है, छत के आगे की जो बाउंड्री है उसे तोड़ा जा चुका है। और ये देखिए छत भी पूरी तरीके से गिरा दी गई है, और सब कुछ यहाँ पर धुएं में तब्दील होता हुआ, मिट्टी में बदलता हुआ नजर आ रहा है।
On that note, we step into a short commercial break, but we get you what Kerala Bishop has said. It's a pro-BJP statement that has triggered massive political storm. And the big question, is the LDF now losing support? Also, in a big message to the West, Chinese president has landed in Russia, and the discussion over Ukraine that is on the cards.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their audios of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gates. We'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
Coming across to the latest breaking details that are just coming in connection with the Operation Amritpal that is underway, where 4 more associates of Amritpal have been sent to police custody. This is till the 23rd of March. 4 more associates of Amritpal that include Bhupinder Singh, Gurpreet Singh, Sukhmanjit Singh and Harpreet Singh, who were produced in the Baba Bakla court. And this is linked to the FIR that is registered at the Khilchian police station. According to the police, they are linked to FIR number 26 at Khilchian police station, and these are under sections 279, 506, 636, 186. The court has also given custody till the 23rd of March. Not just this, some weapons that were also recovered from them, and they are from different districts. They are Bhupinder Singh, Gurpreet Singh, Sukhmanjit Singh and Harpreet Singh, who were produced in the Baba Bakla court. 4 more associates of Amritpal Singh, who have been sent to police custody till the 23rd of March. In fact, this afternoon, the Punjab police had also held a news conference where they had hinted of how Amritpal Singh was trying to form a militia called Anandpur Khalsa Fauj, and bulletproof jackets and rifles that were recovered from And we are getting you those latest pictures of that growing bonhomie between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida, who is on a 2-day visit to India. There you see those pictures of the Japanese Prime Minister now doing chai pe charcha and tasting some golgappas with Prime Minister Modi. This, of course, as we see how Fumio Kishida had also invited Prime Minister Modi to the G7 Leaders Summit in Hiroshima. And there have been wide-ranging talks with Kishida to expand India-Japan strategic partnership for a peaceful, stable and prosperous post-COVID world. The Japanese Prime Minister, who had arrived earlier and is on a 2-day official visit to India. In fact, Prime Minister Modi had also said that in the last 1 year, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and him had met several times, and every time he felt a sense of positivity and commitment to India-Japan bilateral relationship. His visit will also be very beneficial to maintain this momentum. There you see Prime Minister adding that personal touch as he is making the Japanese Prime Minister and giving him a sense of the Indian culture and the Indian foods. There the Japanese Prime Minister tasting golgappas and doing chai pe charcha as the two leaders interact. Abhishek Kapoor, Senior Executive Editor, who's tracking all the details on the ground, is with us on the phone line. Abhishek, well, and this is just that extra personal touch that Prime Minister Modi always adds, as in this visit of Prime Minister Kishida also, he's with him. This is coming in from the Chai Pe Charcha moments that they are having, and the Japanese Prime Minister also having the very own Indian Golgappas. What more can you tell us, as it is indicative of the cultural exchange and also what the two leaders are interacting?
Suesha, so you mentioned about that extra personal touch, and you saw that impact of that extra burst of spices when Prime Minister Kishida tried that pani puri. I don't know whether the pani of the pani puri and the chai go together, but then this is obviously soft power push. We know Prime Minister Modi for bringing in that element of very personal touch and that kind of soft power push diplomacy. The manner in which, for example, he goes and hugs these leaders on global stage, very warm connect, which has sort of become a trademark, which in fact now gets reciprocated by leaders like Emmanuel Macron, for example. And here you see Prime Minister giving Prime Minister Kishida a peep into some Indian snacks, and they seem to be having a very engaging conversation on what this thing is about. So you saw, for example, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe being taken to Ahmedabad and being taken to the Sabarmati ashram. Similarly, for President Xi Jinping, Prime Minister Modi himself traveled to Xi'an and to those ancient places for which Xi'an is known. Then we had President Xi Jinping coming to Chennai, to Mamallapuram, and in this case, Prime Minister Kishida and Prime Minister Modi having some time together at the Buddha Jayanti Park after having paid respects at the Bodhisattva tree. Now, you see, these optics essentially underscore the kind of comfort, the kind of chemistry, the kind of personal connect that is there between the leaderships of the two nations. This is something which was not done earlier, and it was not done perhaps because it was not understood. The value of this kind of soft power push was not understood. Prime Minister Modi understands that. So be it his oath-taking ceremony in 2014 when he invited the SAARC nations, or his oath-taking ceremony in 2019 when he invited the ASEAN nations. And then, as I mentioned, whenever you have these dignitaries coming, just last week he was at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad giving a lap of honor to Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. And so now, because Prime Minister Kishida is on a short working visit, it's not a full state visit. There was no ceremonial welcome, for example. So Prime Minister is still finding time, taking him out and showing him around the Buddha Jayanti Park. Essentially, it's about showcasing India's heritage, soft power. In this case, the Buddha Connect that is there between the two nations. All the important Buddhist sites being in India, and Buddhism essentially a majority religion in Japan, and many of those Asian, East Asian and Southeast Asian countries. So I think these pictures for optics essentially underscore the kind of comfort that's there between the two nations and hence the two leaders, or the two leaders and hence the two nations, and India's soft power diplomacy push.
Oh yes, absolutely, Abhishek. And like you said, that don't know whether the tastes of the two go, but Prime Minister Kishida, they're certainly getting a taste of the Indian Golgappas, and really an extension to the strong bilateral relations between the two nations. Also, the building of that strong strategic partnership for a peaceful, stable and prosperous post-COVID world, and really how the Prime Minister holds this diplomatic strategy when he is usually interacting with his foreign counterparts. Here again, as Prime Minister said, that he will and has been thankful for the invite that has been extended to him for the G7 Leaders Summit in Hiroshima. And these are memories, certainly, Abhishek, that Japanese Prime Minister Kishida would take back home.
Well, naturally, as I said, it's a short working trip. Remember, Prime Minister Kishida has arrived in the morning only, and he headed straight to Rajghat, from there straight to Hyderabad House, from there straight to Sapru for the Sapru lecture at the Sushma Swaraj Bhavan, and then from there straight to this Buddha Jayanti Park rendezvous with Prime Minister Modi again, and then in the evening he's at a business event, and then I believe with the embassy of Japan, and then in the morning, 8 o'clock, I believe, or 10 o'clock, he flies back to Japan. And in the short period of time for the two leaders to be connecting one-on-one, to be engaging on the culture side, and trying to appreciate, the heritage connect that's there between the two nations. These paying floral tributes to the Bodhisattva tree is a Buddha connect that exists between India and Japan. Remember, Prime Minister Modi has been talking about this Buddhism circuit, which has been strengthened, for example, by setting up international airports, international airport at Kushinagar, which was inaugurated last year, and upgrading the Varanasi airport to an international airport, having fantastic highways in the region connecting all these places, Lumbini, Sarnath, Kushinagar, Lumbini on the Nepal side, of course. And so I think soft power push essentially is part of the larger diplomacy. Very personal, with a lot of personal touch that Prime Minister brings to diplomacy. Pictures reflecting that.
All right, Abhishek, we'll continue to get our viewers the very latest on Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's visit to India. But for the moment, we have to slip into a short commercial break. And Prime Minister Modi thanking Fumio Kishida for extending that invite to the G7 summit that is to be in Hiroshima.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gate. So we'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence. The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo.
Thank you for joining us on This is Exclusive. It's 6 p.m. We have some pictures coming in and some details about how the United Kingdom, under pressure, is being forced to act after giving Khalistanis a free run on their soil. And it's something that's been happening over the years. Our focus is on the desecration of the tricolour in the UK on This is Exclusive. Here are the headlines. Two days on and Amritpal remains untraceable. An entire state can't find him. They know where he is. They know how he escaped. Republic TV accesses the CCTV of Amritpal's escape. Despite all of it, he's still on the run. Toolkit to spread Khalistani agenda exposed, very similar. The operation, the countries where the tweets are being put out, the countries involved, Canada, UK, US, Australia, even Pakistani handlers, part of the Amritpal provocation. Amritpal backers protest outside the Indian High Commission in London. India summons the UK envoy as Khalistanis desecrate the tricolour. Indian flag targeted by Amritpal backers in London, but the Sikhs in India, the entire community standing as one, protesting outside the UK High Commission for giving Khalistanis a free run. Kerala Bishop's pro-BJP statement triggers a big political storm. Is the left losing support? Why are they so jittery? In Japan, Prime Minister in India invites the Prime Minister Modi for the G7 meeting. Strategic talks underway. Indians, the Indian flag, the tricolour. Hindu temples have been targeted by Khalistanis, not just in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, in parts of the United States, UK especially, not once but multiple times. In the latest insult, the pictures from outside the Indian High Commission in London tells you why the Khalistanis are getting a free run, especially in the UK. The tricolour atop the Indian High Commission in London was grabbed by a group of Khalistanis waving the separatist flag. Only one of them has been arrested. There are hundreds of them seen in the videos. They can be identified, and yet just one of them arrested. Why are they getting a free run? That's our focus on This is Exclusive.
It is the biggest insult to tricolour overseas. The Tiranga flying atop the Indian High Commission in London was pulled down. A group of Khalistan supporters also waved separatist flags and chanted pro-Khalistani slogans. The incident has infuriated people back home, with calls of strictest action against the culprits.
Here, as you can see, that a group of protesters has arrived here right at the gate of the British High Commission, and you can see that how they all have Indian flags in their hand and are chanting the slogan Bharat Mata Ki Jai, and that we love India. This is coming after the incident when we know that at the UK High Commission in the United Kingdom, the Indian flag was brought down by some pro-Khalistani supporters.
Indian Foreign Secretary has made India's stand clear.
India's response to it, in which the UK Deputy High Commissioner was summoned and was one, demanding an explanation, two, asked the culprits and the perpetrators of what happened at London yesterday to be quickly arrested and prosecuted. We launched a strong protest and also clearly indicated to the British authorities for the need for them to put up adequate security.
Even after hundreds of Khalistani supporters seen desecrating the flag, only one has been arrested so far. Who is giving pro-Khalistanis a free run? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
In fact, I'm starting with Waris Punjab, the Legal Affairs Secretary Iman Singh Kara joining us. Iman Singh will be joining us. Let me go across to Puneet Sahani. Puneet Sahani, I'm going to be joined by someone very controversial in a few minutes from now. Before that, let me go across to Puneet Sahani. He's been extremely active on social media on the Khalistanis especially. You saw those protests in Delhi and how the Sikh community came out to protest against these elements, Puneet. What do you make of the support that you're seeing?
I don't know, okay, it's fine, doesn't matter anything. The Khalistanis are doing not because what they see support of what Sikhs have in Delhi or not. You see all the elections, Khalistanis basically lose their security deposit. Even in this election, after all this farmers movement, this Simranjit Singh Man's party got 0.8% vote on an average seat in Punjab. BJP got 2.4%. What it means is, on an average seat in Punjab, the so-called Hindu right-wing BJP party got 3 times more than the Khalistani. So there is no support, but they are doing it. They are criminals. Criminals don't see, okay, far off, what is the popular support or not. Criminals understand deterrent. What cost are you inflicting on this behavior? That's how they are going to change their behavior. You can get all the Delhi, all the Punjab on the street. Nothing matters. I'm sorry to say this, but okay, it's good. I'm also from Delhi. I know we are anti-Khalistani and my family is completely disgusted by what is happening. But this is not going to change by what is happening in UK or Canada till you crack a whip on them.
Yeah, you saw those pictures. You saw those pictures from London. Why do these Khalistanis get a free run, especially in countries like the UK and Canada?
They are criminals, bhai. The thing is, these countries are made on a gentlemanly agreement. When they never imagined that people like Khalistanis, who have basically no ethics and no morals, they can basically infiltrate the system. And, these societies have no tools to actually deal with them. That's another subject. For example, I will say there is a documentary on YouTube called Sikh Politics in Canada by Terry Molesky. It was made in 2007, so about 15 years ago. But it's a timeless documentary. But the thing is, they work, everybody follows the law, and this, and that's why there should be presumption of innocence. And they don't have people who basically beat women and kill children and take pride in that. The modern democracy with this, the West has nothing, and these Khalistanis have completely infiltrated. So if you want, it will take 20 minutes, but I can explain you each country that their system is completely paralyzed. For example, what you would see is, for example, these Pakistanis. Can you imagine? They are just like 2 or 4%, and what they have done to these British girls. But the state could do nothing because the state doesn't have the tools to do when you face an evil like that. A normal person, which is based on good faith or societies, they are not meant to deal with people like this. It is based on principle of charity and I forgot the name. What was it? You respect each other and you work like this, and then everybody has rights. But if you have between a lawyer and a criminal, lawyer can give all the arguments. The criminal is always going to win.
Yeah. Do you think India should take up this desecration of the tricolour very strongly with the UK? The UK, I mean, you see these goons over there, these Khalistani goons. Most of them, most of them have been captured on camera. You can see their faces. They know their identities. And yet, we are hearing that as of this minute, only one of them has been arrested by the Scotland Yard. And India has bent over backwards for the UK with the free trade agreement. We've been very accommodative, but do you think the government should take this up stronger than before?
Then there is something wrong with you. If the state is doing this and you are bending over backwards, this is Greek wisdom from over 2,000 years ago. What they say is, appeasement is never seen as benevolence to be reciprocated. It's always seen as weakness to be exploited. And this is what Gill Saab was saying. This is no center state what you say, relationship. This is no religious affair. It is basically Jatwad, and you let patriotic judges deal with this, Khalistani criminals. It's basically criminality, and you let the police deal like they're ordinary criminals. Like, what is so hard to understand? Like, again, and what you say about UK, what you have to do is not some Dimash or something like that. I can explain to you in 2 minutes how Khalistanis have basically gone and killed people in UK who have done nothing, who basically said we oppose Khalistan, or, we want peace, or we want Hindu-Sikh brotherhood. Like, for example, there was a name called Rajinder Singh Bhatt. You spell Bhatt as B-A-A-T-H. So I'm sure nobody has ever heard his name, but you Google his name. You will get India Today archive, you will get a report that this guy in 1980s, he killed a religious preacher who was doing nothing, who was just saying Hindus and Sikhs are one and we don't want Khalistan. And then there is a court judgment that we have killed a man for peace, for no reason. And this Rajinder Singh Bhatt, when he was released after 35 years, recently, like last year, all the Khalistanis of UK and Canada were celebrating. What you should do is, because, you can say, okay, like the thing is, you have to explain to these British people and the British government that you have a ticking time bomb here. This is, every person is driven by self-interest. So you have to make the case that these people are not in your self-interest. It's not that, India is hurt or our emotions are hurt or something like that. That this is unmitigated evil. And, like they will eat up your society. They have done nothing like that. This is the case they have to make. I can make it in 5 minutes.
No, you're right. I mean, you said it perfectly there, that they're a time bomb in the UK, Canada, Australia, wherever they're operating from. But my last question to you, Puneet, you've done a lot of research on these Khalistanis. Why do these Khalistanis love Pakistanis, and why does Pakistan and ISI pump in money to these Khalistanis?
No, there are several. So they are done with this. And what my original research is, and actually now it is becoming very popular because I've explained, and what I've been saying for 1 year, people have even seen that it came out true. Like, actually, so the thing is, when people talk about Khalistan, like, people take it to Bhindranwale and Mrs. Gandhi's mismanagement. Then, like, people take it a bit back, like the Bangladesh war, what do you say, this Bangladesh war happened, and, Pakistan war, and all are true, they're this. But my research actually takes it to 1920s pre-partition India. To give you very thinker, for example, Guru Gobind Singh, he's a master of Persian, and he writes a lot of his composition with, Arabic Persian words. He never uses the word Qom. Now, if you go to any Gurdwara, they just use Sikh Qom, Sikh Qom, Sikh Qom, Sikh Qom. He's always saying Sikh Panth. So what this Qom is, basically they picked it up from Muslim League. Like, Muslim League was also Do Qawmi Nazariya. There's like Qawmi, these are what they're saying. So what I'm saying is the SGPC is basically running on a Pakistan mindset. And you see what Pakistan is doing. See, what China, brutalized the Muslims in their country. But what Pakistan is supporting China, why? Because it's the enemy of India. So it has no original identity. The entire identity is based on hatred of India. It's the same with SGPC. Their entire identity is nothing original, is based on like hatred or schizophrenic hatred of Hindu and denial of that history. So anybody who supports them, it's the Pakistanis, if it's the missionaries, they are going to do that. So they have like nothing positive. It's all a negative way of thinking, and that's what the distraction they have caused. You see what is happening in Punjab. There is there is drug addiction. I think this is an escape because SGPC has cut the spiritual roots. So people are just fleeing wherever they can escape, whether it's in drugs, they escape there, they escape in Canada, or they escape in these missionaries. But everybody wants to flee these people. This is my analysis. This is my perspective. You are free to disagree.
Puneet Sawhney, thank you for speaking to Republic TV this evening. We can have a longer conversation, but because of paucity of time, thanking you there. Puneet Sawhney joining us, telling us more about the Khalistanis. Talking about the Khalistanis, they're getting in support from the usual suspects. In fact, the entire Amritpal activity on social media, and we did a deep dive on it, we accessed details on it, documents on it, and let's show you what the dossier shows. In fact, the details with Republic TV, and that's the next angle on this, is exclusive. It appears that most of the tweets, most of the support that came in for the Khalistanis was from countries like Canada, Australia, Pakistan, UK, the usual suspects. And before we tell you about that, look at this video. This is the last time that Amritpal was seen in public. That's the video. In fact, if you cue this video up once more, let's play this video from the beginning. If you play this video from the beginning, you can see in the first few seconds, that's it. That's the video, that's the car, and you can see Amritpal getting off from the left side of the car, runs inside a building. He runs inside the building, and this car then continues to move ahead and diverts the police. So the police cars which follow about 30 seconds later are following the main car, but there is no Amritpal inside it. But this CCTV shows that he gets off the car, enters another building. So they know where he is. The escape has been caught on camera, and yet he hasn't been arrested. For 2 days now, over 48 hours, the entire state of Punjab, the police, internet is suspended, flag marches are being conducted. Thousands of policemen on the job haven't been able to find Amritpal. Is it possible? These are more CCTV sequences that came in. Suspected police vehicles also seen trailing. The chase has been caught on camera. And the same Amritpal, which Republic TV has tracked him over the last few months. We've had several debates on it. We've confronted him. We've questioned him. He's spoken about the Khalistani agenda. And we questioned the Bhagwant Mann government back then, saying, how is he getting a free run? And despite the warnings, he was allowed to get a free run. The result is what is happening in Punjab as we speak. Let me go across to Gursimran and Amandeep both joining us. Let's put out the exclusive details also of the toolkit, the Amritpal toolkit, similar to what we saw during the farmers' protest. The same countries, the same players, the same groups from Pakistan to Canada getting active once again. But where is Amritpal? Nobody knows. Amandeep, where is Amritpal? Why is the state government clueless?
Well, Niranjan, this is a big question, and in fact, Amritpal has smoothly escaped from a police net where almost 700 to 800 cops have deployed to nab him, and where they were a prime target of the entire operation is Amritpal Singh. And so far, they are not able to track down the whereabouts and the hideabouts of Amritpal Singh. Though Aam Aadmi Party leaders and ministers are claiming big that they have maintained the law and order situation in Punjab, everything is in peace and harmony. But the point is that uncertainty is prevailing, Niranjan, just because till the time Amritpal is not get arrested, uncertainty is prevailing. He has started creating his own army, AKF. He has started mobilizing the youth. He has started radicalizing the youth. He has started providing the weapons. He has started openly giving the speeches against India. That was Amritpal Singh. And now all of a sudden, from a very strong police net, he has escaped in a very smooth manner. And now the NSA has also been imposed. But uncertainty is still prevailing, Niranjan, uncertainties. He is in direct link with ISI. The intelligence agencies has a very concrete evidence to the connection of Amritpal Singh directly to ISI. There was no middleman, there was no hawala transactions. He was getting financial support directly from ISI. So even his Mercedes car has been provided by a drug smuggler who was having the connections in Pakistan, whose brother has been shot dead by BSF in 2013 and recovered 10 packets of the heroin. That Mercedes car basically gifted from that family to Amritpal Singh. So these are the connections, but still Punjab police is not able to track down the location of Amritpal Singh. In fact, they have also spread information among the intelligence agencies that Amritpal Singh is having very strong connections in Nepal, and in fact he might look his safer zone in Nepal as well.
Okay.
But in entire
be
Punjab,
with me, Mandeep. Another angle we're looking at right now, while we look at where he is, nobody knows where he is, whether he's in Nepal, whether he's actually still in Punjab, some other state, or Pakistan. We don't know, and we can't tell. But what we do know is the support he's getting is from Pakistan. I'm going to cross to Gursimran for that. Gursimran, the money trail has been established, direct links to Pakistan and the ISI. Even the activity, the support that he's getting is mostly from Pakistan, from Canada, from the UK, from Australia, from the US. In India, he's barely getting any support. Life goes on in Punjab. Nobody really cares about Amritpal.
See, what Amritpal has expected, the things have gone totally different, because the people have realized that a person who was claiming to be their preacher and was saying that come police arrest me, he's the one who is absconding, running from the police, running post to pillar to get himself away from the police. That has been the reality of the Amritpal Singh, and that is what the people of Punjab have also understood. Now coming to the usual suspect, Pakistan, whenever there is a incident of mounting trouble in the India, it came that it is the ISI that is behind this. And similar is the case of Amritpal, that he has got the funds from the ISI in small amount so that it doesn't come under the scrutiny of the agencies. This was done in such a manner that the small amounts are sent to different people, and that money can be used to carry out the activities of Amritpal in India. Also, the Khalsa Vahir that he has launched, the police has come on record to say that they have collected a huge funds in the name of Vahir also. That means that entire money was being pushed for the so-called cause of Amritpal, that is to spread the anti-India agenda and to pose a serious threat to the sovereignty and the unity of the country, because the army he was building in, the bulletproof jackets that have been recovered, the Anandpur Khalsa force he has named, but the main motive was to pose a challenge to the system, to the sovereignty of the country, and that's why, based on the dossier, the intelligence agencies have acted. Yes, Niranjan.
There's also another angle to it. The legal team of Amritpal, his family claim it's a state. They claim it's a state conspiracy. They claim that he's been arrested already. Here's what the lawyer, the legal team of Amritpal saying on record.
What we understand through this video is that someone is narrating, but still in the visual it's not clear that Amritpal is in the Shahkot police station or not.
See, let me forward this video for you. Let me, before this car goes, here a person, Pai Amritpal Singh, can be seen from coming here. I see it's a 1.5 minute long video. I have to find out in the video exactly at what the parents of Pai Amritpal Singh is in this 1.5 minute video of 10 to 15 seconds. So I have to need to find those particular seconds. I can provide you. See here. See these persons. I have firm belief that from the parents of Pai Amritpal Singh.
Can we just zoom in? So this is what you are stating, that this person is Amritpal Singh.
Yes, and there are many other eyewitnesses statements which they have stated on the social media, that we have seen Pai Amritpal Singh in the Shahkot police station, and there are many other videos in which Pai Amritpal Singh, while he was getting out from Endeavour car, was apprehended by the police officials. So there are many other evidences on the basis of which I have firm belief, and on the basis of which I have filed my writ petition that Pai Amritpal Singh has already been arrested by the Punjab police officials, because he...
Okay, so that's the counsel of Amritpal claiming that he's been arrested already. That's a contested claim. Police saying nothing of that sort has happened. When we come back, getting more details of the Kerala bishop who has said that he will support any government or party that helps farmers. More on that when we come back. There's a big fight over that comment.
Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gates. We'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence. The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gates. We'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
China's Xi Jinping arrived to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow in what comes as a boost for the isolated Russian president after the International Criminal Court charged him with war crimes in Ukraine.
The concept electric SUV EVX reveals Maruti Suzuki's bold plan towards electric mobility in India. Designed and developed by Suzuki Motor Corporation, the concept EVX is underpinned by a ground-up all-electric platform that will spawn a range of future EVs. EVX is powered by 60 kilowatt-hour battery pack, offering up to 550 kilometer driving range. The EVX bears Suzuki's signature SUV design with aerodynamic silhouette, long wheelbase, shorter overhangs and optimum ground clearance. The concept electric SUV EVX is designed to offer class-leading cabin comfort, convenience and connected features. The emotional versatile cruiser, the concept electric SUV EVX, an upcoming car with advanced technology and comfort.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 10 years. With top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
The Delhi police officials have reached the residence of Rahul Gandhi only after notice was issued to Rahul Gandhi seeking the statements and details of the women he was talking about during one of his speeches at Bharat Jodo Yatra, that many women during that time had come and shared their ordeals of sexual assault by their own family members and near and dear ones. The special CP coming from one gate and entering back in the residence from the other gates. We'll have to see as to what is it all about, whether he has given any time or whether he has cooperated or not, but a lot of support pouring in at the Congress leader's residence.
Two days since Punjab Police launched Operation Amritpal Singh still untraceable. ISI link confirmed, foreign funding angle being probed by the Punjab Police. Indian flag outside Indian High Commission in London attacked by Amritpal backers. Anger in India seeks fight back, hold protests outside UK High Commission in New Delhi. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on India visit meets Prime Minister Modi in the national capital. Sending a big message to the West, Chinese President Xi Jinping lands in Russia, discussion over Ukraine on the cards. Good evening, this is live and breaking at 6:30. I'm Suesha Sawant and we begin this edition by getting you details of the showdown over Rahul Gandhi's comments that continue into day 6, which was a complete washout in the parliament yet again over the ruckus and sloganeering. BJP continued the attack, demanded an apology from Rahul Gandhi for attacking India and denigrating India on foreign soil. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri led the attack, demanding an apology for the act. This comes after Rahul Gandhi in that recent week-long visit to London made objectionable remarks against the state of democracy in India and also implicitly sought intervention from the West to help India. Listen in.
A private citizen goes outside the country or inside the country, he has a freedom to speak. But along with that freedom to speech comes what I call the need to have a sense of responsibility. Now, if you don't understand how the European Union came into being, and I don't want to take your time to highlight how the Treaty of Rome started with 6 countries and others, how the first union was European Coal Community, European Coal and Steel Community. These are sovereign countries which have joined in order to produce, at the end of the day, some kind of a customs union, a tariff union, and where they've even decided to have a common foreign and security policy. These are independent states. To compare that to the Indian states, look, we are the world's largest democracy. On that there is no doubt. We are the world's oldest democracy. On that also there is no doubt. But for Mr. Gandhi to go to the United Kingdom and say, in India, Indian democracy is facing a attack on the basic structure. What is the basic structure of a democracy? Number one, freedom of speech, civil liberties, a free press, an independent judiciary. Which of these constituent components which make up Indian democracy is saying that they are under attack? The free press, I am a very proud member of the Indian legislature. I see the press having a field day, criticizing the government through print media, through electronic media, through social media. And I think the relationship between the media and the political system, many members of the media ecosystem take great delight in taking credits, taking advertisements from parties which are in opposition to the party, and they give them free play. I have never seen any constraints being placed on anyone. I just saw a participation by very eminent members of the judiciary, including those occupying the highest positions in the judicial system. They say we are under no pressure. In any case, even if they were to say that there is a healthy interactive process going on between the judiciary and the government, there are certain things the government feels, and I believe rightly so, that in a separation between the executive, the legislature and the judiciary, the executive has a role to play. Now, if the judiciary encroaches on that, it's our right to say that. But are they under any pressure? On the contrary. We have the judiciary pronouncing on how state systems are to be run. So I think anyone who suggests, even as a private citizen, that Indian democracy is under threat, I think requires serious introspection. But when somebody who is associated, is regarded as the leader of the main opposition party, they don't have the 10% he can't be called leader of opposition, but still, it is the largest party. If you look at sheer numbers, to go around and say that Indian democracy is under brutal attack, what is the objective? He's saying, all of you, the ones I am speaking to, the audience I'm reaching out to, which is what? United Kingdom, United States. And he doesn't realize there are enough mavericks there who on their own will make statements without understanding what India is. He turns around and says, aap kuch kariye. What is he asking for? He's asking for the democratic processes in the United Kingdom to effect change in the Indian Union. Is that what he's doing? It amounts to almost that.
Shifting focus now, as UK is under massive pressure on how the tricolour was desecrated. And unfortunately, only one person so far has been arrested. This despite hundreds who are clearly seen in those videos that are now doing the rounds of those who had targeted the Indian flag. UK has admitted that some policemen have been injured in this incident involving Khalistani elements. But there are larger questions that the UK government must answer now. In the meanwhile, there is anger that is mounting within the country. And how is the Indian government possibly raising this with UK? Let's listen into those voices coming in first.
UK incident we have already put out yesterday evening, late evening. India's response to it, in which the UK Deputy High Commissioner was summoned and was one, demanding an explanation, two, asked to be asked the culprits and the perpetrators of what happened at London yesterday to be quickly arrested and prosecuted. He launched a strong protest and also clearly indicated to the British authorities the need for them to put up adequate security at the UK High Commission.
देश के साथ हम सिख खड़े हैं। तिरंगा हमारी जान, आन, बान और शान है और किसी भी सूरत में जो तिरंगे की मुखालफत करते हैं, मैं उनको बताना चाहता हूँ वो आप सिखों की मुखालफत कर रहे हैं। अगर आप सिखों से प्यार करते हैं तो आपको हमारे तिरंगे से भी प्यार करना चाहिए। मैं ये सब सिखों को विदेशों में कहना चाहता हूँ, हमारे लिए ऐसी सिचुएशन मत राइज कीजिए, आप उन एजेंसियों के हाथों में मत खेलिए। बहुत सारे सिखों ने बाहर जाके तरक्की की है, उस तरक्की से हम खुश होते हैं। इसी तरह भारत का सिख भी ये उम्मीद करता है कि विदेशों में जब कुछ लोग एजेंसियों के हाथों में खेलते हैं तो वो भी हमारा साथ दें और वहाँ के सिख भी आवाज़ उठाएं इन लोगों के खिलाफ जो लोग हमारे तिरंगे को बदनाम और हमारे देश के खिलाफ बोलते हैं।
देना चाहते हैं, वो जो कर रहे हैं वो गलत कर रहे हैं। उसकी बदौलत हम जो छोटे छोटे पिंडों में बैठे हुए हैं, शहरों में हैं, उनके ऊपर रिएक्ट होता है। दूसरी पार्टियां हम पे रिएक्ट करती हैं, हम पे भेदभाव का विचार रखते हैं। हम उनको कहते हैं जो उनको लेना है कुछ तो खालिस्तान तो आ जाएगा, उसकी हम डिमांड वो कर रहे हैं तो उनका हक करें। पर वो ये चाहें कि जो हमारे बच्चे हैं सिख परिवारों के, वो कुछ पढ़ें लिखें, उनके लिए डिमांड करें कि वो IAS अफसर बने, ऊपर तक जाएं। जब तक जाएंगे नहीं तब तक कुछ हम ले नहीं सकते। जो उन्होंने किया वो गलत किया।
बिल्कुल। और आप यहाँ पे क्या कहना चाहेंगे ऐसे लोगों
हम प्रोटेस्ट करने हैं UK की एम्बेसी के आगे कि वहाँ जो घटना घटी है वो नहीं घटनी चाहिए थी। वहाँ पर इंडियन एम्बेसी को प्रॉपर प्रोटेक्शन होनी चाहिए थी और झंडे का अपमान, हमारे तिरंगे का अपमान हम नहीं सहेंगे। बीइंग अ इंडियन सिख, वी आर प्राउड टू बी इंडियन सिख्स एंड वी आर हियर टू प्रोटेस्ट फॉर आवर इंडियन फ्लैग। डिसरिस्पेक्ट नहीं होनी चाहिए इंडियन फ्लैग की।
And shifting to the other top stories we're tracking for you this evening, Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, like you heard, had slammed Congress MP Rahul Gandhi over his recent remarks on India's democracy. This was during his London visit. Hardeep Singh Puri said, and I quote, "If any individual goes outside the country, he has the freedom to speak, but along with that freedom comes what I call the need to have a sense of responsibility," unquote.
A private citizen goes outside the country or inside the country, he has a freedom to speak. But along with that freedom to speech comes what I call the need to have a sense of responsibility. Now, if you don't understand how the European Union came into being, and I don't want to take your time to highlight how the Treaty of Rome started with 6 countries and others, how the first union was European Coal Community, European Coal and Steel Community. These are sovereign countries which have joined in order to produce.
The woman who was urinated upon an international flight of Air India has moved the Supreme Court seeking guidelines on unruly and disruptive behavior in airplanes and a change in alcohol policy. She has also sought restrictions on media reporting of the criminal case ongoing in the Patiala House Court on grounds that it was affecting a fair trial through selective leaks of information. Prayagraj Development Authority raised the property of Mohammad Ghulam and accused in the Umesh Pal murder case based on a complaint lodged by Umesh Pal's wife Jaya Pal. A case was registered against Atiq Ahmed, his relatives and aides including Mohammad Ghulam. BRS MLC K. Kavita appeared before the ED for the second round of questioning on Delhi's liquor policy case. This comes after she skipped the earlier summon, citing her petition challenging ED notice was pending for hearing in the Supreme Court. Archbishop of Roman Catholic Church, Mar Joseph Pamplani, voiced support for ruling BJP. He said, and I quote, "The believers of the church will be able to help the BJP to elect its first MP from the state if the union government raises the price of natural rubber to 300 rupees a kg. Reacting to that comment, Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar said that the statement of the bishop was welcoming. He further said that Prime Minister Modi was always supportive of inclusive development.
No, I think it's a very welcome statement by the Bishop of Talasheri. I was there in December of last year where I visited with many students and many young Malayalis in that area. And it is clear that the Prime Minister has always stood for Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And it is important that community leaders stand up and explain to to the members of their community that the Prime Minister has been relentlessly working for the betterment of all Indians, regardless of their religion, regardless of where they come from. So I welcome this statement by the Bishop of Talasheri.
Members of the Muslim community staged a protest over Karnataka BJP leader K.S. Ishwarappa's remark on Azan. A protester performed Azan at the premises of the District Commissioner's office in Shivamogga district. The video of the incident has gone viral. Prime Minister Modi held talks with wide-ranging talks, with Japanese Prime Minister Kishida to expand on India-Japan strategic partnership for a peaceful, stable and prosperous post-COVID world. The Japanese Prime Minister arrived earlier today on a 2-day official visit to India.
आज प्रधानमंत्री किशिदा ने मुझे मई महीने में हिरोशिमा से मैं होने वाली G7 लीडर समिट के लिए निमंत्रण दिया। इसके लिए मैं उनका हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं। इसके कुछ महीनों बाद सितंबर में G20 लीडर समिट के लिए मुझे प्रधानमंत्री किशिदा का फिर से भारत में स्वागत करने का अवसर मिलेगा।
Special Investigation Unit of the Kashmir Police conducted searches in the Kakapora area of South Kashmir's Pulwama district. Raids were conducted at the property of Lashkar-e-Taiba commander Riaz Ahmed Dar, who has been active for 8 years and is believed to be one of the oldest surviving terrorists. Sources say more raids are expected in the area. Auto rickshaw drivers in Bengaluru called for a strike in protest against private bike taxi aggregators functioning in the city. Over 2 lakh auto rickshaws will remain off-road till midnight. The auto rickshaw union called for a strike because they claim that the bike taxis jeopardize the livelihoods of auto rickshaw drivers. We're stepping into a short commercial break. On the other side, we get you details as it's been 2 days since the Punjab police launched Operation Amritpal, when Amritpal Singh still remains untraceable. He is on the run. Also, it's a big message to the West as Chinese President Xi Jinping has landed in Russia, and all eyes now on the discussion over Ukraine that is on the cards.
The Maruti Suzuki True Value is one of the most trusted destinations to buy pre-owned cars. True Value not only provides a plethora of options for cars at your preferred price point, but it also comes with the reliability of Maruti Suzuki. With more than 550 showrooms across 274 cities at True Value, your buying experience is no different from buying a new car. Today, True Value is at its forefront of India's fast-growing pre-owned car market. Its objective is to empower sellers and buyers through a systematic integration of technology and industry experience. True Value has revolutionized the pre-owned car market. More than 46 lakh plus happy customers are a testament to the fact that True Value stands for the best value both in terms of service and quality. The car gets a hot exterior design, making this popular compact SUV the all-new hot and techy Brezza, the city-bred SUV. The all-new Avatar is loaded with high-tech features that come handy with all your city adventures. The 360 view camera reinforces safety for customers with an immersive view of the driving space. An electric sunroof gives the all-new Brezza an exciting look and feel, and head-up display offers multiple information displayed in driver's line of sight for a safer drive. The 22.86 cm Smart Play Pro Plus infotainment system with HD display offers intuitive user experience with advanced voice assist. The wireless charging dock with LED indicator helps in seamless and comfortable charging. all new, hot and techy Brezza, the city-bred SUV.